long-established rivalry continues. Of course, it's a very one-sided one. It's 19 wins to 1 in favour of O'Sullivan. Another big session of snooker. This is the business session, and he started well. So Ronnie O'Sullivan looking sharp early on today. Seems to have stepped it up here. Fabulous clearance of 117 from Ronnie O'Sullivan, making his move. If he can make a nice break, he should settle back into it. Carter's challenge is fading. O'Sullivan has stepped it up. Ronnie O'Sullivan, a big favourite now to win this match. His second century of the afternoon, his third of the match, a 1-2-3 clearance from Ronnie O'Sullivan, the 7 times champion, looking good again here. Well, the referee trying to sort of stop people coming back in down the stairs. O'Sullivan going up the stairs in a minute, I think. Well, the crowd loved that, didn't they? It was short and sweet. He finishes with a total clearance of 131. A little chat between the players. Carter will be disappointed with his performance in the second half, but the crowd are delighted because for the 29th time in his career, Ronnie O'Sullivan is in round 2.
Good evening, it's day 5 at the World Snooker Championship, and by end of play today, all 32 players will have taken to the Crucible Bays. This morning it was hard going with the All-China affair. Pang had to win the last 5 frames to pick up his first win here. Owl's early pick, Murphy, was in full force. A word, though, for Daniel World, the debutant. 4 frames he won. That included 3 tons and a 90-plus break. Much more about this afternoon's action in just a moment. And then this evening, what we can look forward to, frankly, with sport for choice between Trump and Yulong, who played to a conclusion. And then it's the Battle of Leicestershire, Selby versus Woollaston. That one is not to be missed. And something a little bit different, because if you're watching in the UK, we're doing something while the snooker action gets underway. We have a unique watch-along with Rangers' finest Ali McCoist and commentating denizen Darren Fletcher. They love the game. They're big fans of Ronnie O'Sullivan. They're big fans of people who score heavily. And they'll be doing commentary with a whole host of special guests. You'll have to watch to find out exactly who those guests are. It's for one night only, and that night is tonight, right on TNT Sports 1. And a reminder, though, that obviously on TNT Sports 3 and on Discovery Plus, you can listen to our fantastic commentary team of Dominic Dale and Phil Yates. The big question, Jimmy White, though, is where are we going to eat our Chinese?
I don't know. Is there going to be any room in here?
Unbelievable scenes. And Jimmy's actually going to be the very first person on the very first frame. We can say a massive hello to Reanne Evans, the 12 times women's world champion. You've watched every ball so far. How have you found it?
I thought it's been fantastic. At the start of the competition, I had no idea what was going to happen. I thought it was so open. You could have an amateur win it who's one of the favourites.
Yes.
You got Will Ronnie play, you got the Crucible Curse, you got debutantes, and I think it's delivered in every aspect. We've had drama, we've had people struggling out there, even the top seeds. So, yeah, I think it's been a fascinating watch so far.
It really has. It's been a fascinating watch, and that was just the Ronnie Carter match. And, if we get straight into that one, it was a tale of 2 sessions. The Ronnie yesterday, very different to the Ronnie today.
Yeah, he'll be very pleased. I thought yesterday was a good run-out for him, bearing in mind he hasn't played a big-time match since last November. So he'll be delighted with the way that it finished for him. You know, got pretty much all departments of his game were in key today. And, roll on the next round.
And roll on frames 10 and 11, Jimmy, because the cue ball, the break building, it was sublime.
That's what Ronnie O'Sullivan is, a class above most of the players. You know, he makes it look so easy when he's got control of the cue ball. This was sort of not an aggressive cannon, because he knew if he hit that side of the pack, he would move the reds out. For me, he looked a bit apprehensive yesterday, but as Alan said, every part of his game today was sharp, his long pot in his positioning. And what Ronnie O'Sullivan, for me, is the best front runner you've ever seen. As soon as he sense that there's any weakness in your opponent, he jumps all over it. And, at the start of the match yesterday, I wasn't too sure how he was going to play. But today he proved that he's a contender. This was a fantastic cannon off 2 cushions, perfectly cued, hits the right side of the pack and brings out reds, and from nowhere, all of a sudden, he's in a frame-winning position. Fantastic. This was a nice shot, top spin. So it shows me that he's been putting a lot of work in. And obviously with the new cue, first time out in a serious match, he's performed very well. And, he's a contender now. I wasn't sure at the start of the tournament.
I mean, it's a huge point about the cue, it has to be said. You'd have had no idea at certain points in this frame. So, Al, frames 10 and 11 were impressive. For you, frame 12, what a clearance that was.
We're talking killer clearances here. When he won this championship the last time, the semi-finals against John Higgins, he made one of them. I think it was the last frame of the first day of the semi-final anyway. Ali Carter's getting the odd chance here, but now he's in a position in the match where he knows Ronnie's going to jump on pretty much every chance that he gets. And as a consequence of that, he misses the first black. Then he's got another one that he shouldn't be missing, not in this company. Ronnie's got the 2 reds. Feast your eyes on these 2. Left-handed. You're talking about, as I say, killer clearances. If you're going to ultimately win this thing, these are the moments that you've got to grasp. This is the best shot of the 3, incidentally. Just misses the green. Round it comes round the corner. Then he's got another one with the lefty that's not easy. He tried to play this with his right hand. He couldn't quite reach it. And then he plays it with the left. In it goes. Nice angle on the black, 1 cushion on the yellow. And he completes the clearance to pretty much seal the deal today. It was brilliant.
Reanne, one of the most exciting parts for me is that, yes, Ronnie was excellent, but you get the sense there's still levels to come.
Yeah, you always sense that with Ronnie, and he can sense that himself. I think he showed a totally different person out there today than yesterday. As I say, he was a little bit rusty, and the new cue, the Ferrell, is a little bit apprehensive about how it's going to work under pressure in certain shots. And as I say, Carter missed his chance a little bit, so Ronnie thought, right, you've had your chance, it's my time to step up a gear now, and he does what he does, and that's why he's won so many world titles and so many titles. He's just a genius at work, and even a new cue can't stop him at the minute. Jimmy, the nuts thing about this game, the end of the session yesterday could have easily finished 6-3 to Carter, and that could have been a different story altogether.
Yeah, I think Ali Carter played a very good first frame, looked very strong, and he didn't... Ronnie didn't take advantage of Ronnie O'Sullivan's mistakes, but that's not going to keep coming. I think that was because Ronnie was a bit apprehensive with the new cue. He's ended up 3-1 up in that session. Then he's, 5-2 up? And yes. Ali won the last 2 frames to go 5-4. So you think Ali would have been back in the match feeling great because, you know, if you're 5-2 down with O'Sullivan, you're looking just maybe get one of them last 2 frames. He got both of them. But today... the couple of chances he had, he didn't take them, and Ronnie just got into his in his zone, shall we say, and then he just looked so dangerous. And he's not hanging about either. When Ronnie O'Sullivan is confident, he gets quick. I think he was like 14, 15 seconds a shot. So it was great to see him back and great to see him play well.
Great to see him playing well, by the way. Could the fairy tale happen? We would all love to see it. How deep can he go in this tournament? Well, it's obstacle 1 out of the way, banana skin averted, and here's what he said to Rachel afterwards.
Well done, Ronnie. So much sharper today. Just how good did you feel?
Yeah, I had probably the best I've felt in 3 years, to be honest with you, that session. But there's no point getting my hopes up because I've had the odd day where I played well, like I did against Ding in one of them tournaments on ITV. Can't remember what it was. But then the next match, back to not so great. So, like I just said there, I think this game has a way of humbling all snooker players. I think this has been the biggest humbling for me, the last 3 or 4 years of just struggling. I had the odd 6 months when I won this World Championships here where leading up to the World Championships from January onwards, I felt great. But other than that, it's just been just awful, So I know what I need to correct. Only I can correct it, so there'll be no more coaches on board. It'll just be me and Steve Peters just trying to help me become a bit more instinctive and just try and find my own method of playing. And like I said, I'll commit to 2 years, whether it's terrible, and I'll just give everything to playing the tournaments and practice and rest and just try and rediscover the shots, that I've kind of lost, really.
And what sort of feelings have you been missing?
Just being able to just really strike through the ball. I've been scared to hit the ball, basically. I've quitting on so many shots and I've had no cue power, no touch, no feel. Just thudding everything, really. Missed timing, just bad timing. And it just grinds you down, really. So, I just need to try and go back to my own way of playing, clear my head, try and not be too analytical and overthink things, which I'm very good at doing. So, Steve Peters helped me yesterday, and Jimmy as well. They both said I need to go instinctive and don't think. I am going to think, but it's knowing when to say, is this really helpful at this moment in time? So it's just picking and choosing when to think about it and when not to. Yeah.
And so many people are so happy that you're here. We're all delighted that you're playing the World Championship. The fans as well. How proud are you of yourself for kind of not looking to the exit?
Yeah, I know. I knew I had to get on the bike at some point. I was definitely going to start the season next year because I thought it's fresh. Everyone's coming in, new fresh start. But then I started practicing a month before the World Championships because I got a little bored at home, not doing much, just hanging around the house. So, so I just thought that was the time to start the rebuild. I've been tinkering so much to the point where I was getting very frustrated because I'd have moments of like, oh yeah, this is good, and then the next day it was terrible. And you just think, well, I think it's quite interesting what Rory McIlroy said. He said, when I'm playing well, I can't imagine playing bad. And when I'm playing bad, I can never imagine I'm going to play well again, And I've had 3-4 years of playing bad, so you kind of start to believe that you'll never play good. I can take a month, 2 months, 6 months. You can kind of go, well, that can happen to anybody. But yeah, I just sort of feel like my limbs kind of didn't belong to me anymore.
It's a relieved Rocket, and we love to see it. But as for the action that's taken place throughout the rest of the day, Al, in terms of Shaun Murphy and Daniel Wells, like I said, he's one of your early picks, Shaun Murphy. He was fantastic earlier on.
It was almost a perfect run-out, in a slightly different way, I think, from Ronnie's win against Ali. But he played brilliantly, as did Daniel Wells, So Shaun was tested in a way that he saw his opponent play nicely. But it was one of those where, and this is the kind of match you want, where both of them scored really well. But Shaun was always, that 3 or 4 frame gap in front after, sort of midway through the first session. His long game was in terrific nick, and we know about the shots like that going into them. He looks in a really good place. And that's why coming in, I wasn't overly worried about the 6-0 and the 10-1 defeat that he suffered in recent weeks in the Players' Series.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, another match we're going to talk about, Jimmy, is the All-China affair, Zhang versus Pang. It was tough going at times, Pang doing enough, especially at the end.
Yeah, he got through the match. I think because they know each other, they made practice with each other, they sort of like, there may have been too much respect there. They both didn't play their natural game. It was a real hard, solid snooker match. Pang, I think he played O'Sullivan last year and just lost 10-8. He's playing him again. If he's going to have any chance against O'Sullivan, he's got to win a lot more frames in one visit. There wasn't many breaks in that match. It was a tough old battle, and Pang would be delighted to come through 10-7.
Yeah, absolutely right. Now, at the other end of the performance spectrum in terms of entertainment was Luca Brissell, Ryan Day. 1 session deep we are now, Reanne. So after 6 frames, Brissell's highest break was 26. Then he kicks into Luca Snooker. It was incredible to watch.
I like that, Red, Luca Snooker. Ryan Day had him on the ropes, and when you draw a seed like that and you get a 5-1, 5-2 lead, you need to keep your foot on the gas. But he didn't. He let Luca off the hook a little bit because he was all at sea. You say his highest break was 26, and then we saw some of his natural flair, and obviously he played that, didn't he? But it's just fantastic to watch when he's in full flow, and that's what you don't want him to be in. And then obviously he starts playing exhibition shots. But that sums Luca up to a T. He's in and out of his match game, and but then his touch starts coming in. He sees the long balls again, and then obviously he's using chalk, the triangle chalk as well, and that was getting to Ryan a little bit, so that was in his head as well. So yeah, you don't want to let Luca off the hook, because when he won the Worlds, you could see how much he could just keep putting him off the lampshades, making breaks of fun. So it's going to be a different session to start with tomorrow.
And now, to put his season into context, that was his 7th century of the season. But centuries and the Crucible at the moment just seem to be like buses. We wait along and 48 come along at once. What's going on?
Well, it's the quality of, obviously, the qualifiers and the seeds we know about. And the tables have been challenging. That's the other thing. Like the match with Pang, as Jimmy was saying, Pang and getting his win. There was no scoring in that match, but the quality is there, and these guys find a way. If the pockets are tight along the cushion, they chip them out. If they're doable along the cushion, they get nice and tight in behind it and roll them in dead weight. They're that good, they find a way, as I say.
And, say what you want about Luca Brissell, there is not a more captivating player on planet Earth than seeing him in full flow, and you never know what you're going to get from him. Could he, once again, lift the Silver Lady? We do not know. But what we do know is on the bays very shortly, that man there, Mark Selby, will take on his very close friend, Ben Woollaston, who returns to the Crucible after a 12-year break. He knows him very well. A similar thing happened a year ago, and Mark fell early. Could that happen again? That'll be on Discovery Plus very shortly. We heard from Ronnie O'Sullivan in the interview afterwards. Welcome back to the Crucible. 2 spots in round 2 still to be booked, which has to be said has been characterised by quality, mostly from the old guard. Higgins, Murphy, Willow, Trump in cruise control too. But in the top half of the draw now, just 1 spot left. And how long ago does that Karen Wilson exit feel by the Alipe fan? The debutant will now face Phenom Xing Tong in round 2. It's all about the match play between Mark Allen and Chris Wakelin, Ronnie O'Sullivan and Pang. We wanted to see it happen, and it will do just that. And could it be Mark Selby taking on Sejowie, or will it be Ben Woollaston? Because coming into this, what form Mark Selby's been in, let's remind ourselves of what a fantastic season he's had so far.
Mark, it's great to see you. As the season comes to a close, the end is in sight. Give us your thoughts and your reflections on how you feel your season has gone so far.
Yeah, quietly pleased, to be honest. I mean, I've won 2 tournaments, which I see that as a successful season. You know, I'm always saying if you win 1 in a season, it's good with the standard of play, the way it is at the moment. But winning 2 is obviously quite pleasing. And even in the tournaments that I've not done well in, I don't feel as I've played too bad. You know, I've lost to players playing better than me at that particular time, but judging on last year's season performances to this season, it's night and day really.
Is there a moment that stands out?
I probably think the British Open, because before then I'd not won a tournament for a while, you know, and your confidence was zapping a little bit. And for me now, unless I'm obviously doing well in the back end of tournaments or even competing for tournament, it's hard to get that confidence back, you know. So to win that tournament sort of got my confidence back a little bit, and from then on I feel like I've played some decent stuff, and yeah, like I say, happy with the way I played.
Did you set yourself any objectives for the start of this season?
Not really, no. Just one, just to try and enjoy it a bit better, and just see how we go. And that's probably why I've done a bit better, you know, because I've probably not put too much expectations on myself, where over the years I've gone into the season thinking, you know, I'm trying to set a target of winning a couple of tournaments a season, and if you don't do it, you seem like it's not a successful season. But this year I've just gone with the flow, you know, put the practice in, gone to the tournament, tried my best, and see what happens.
The World Champs this year, the big one. Just how much are you looking forward to being back in Sheffield?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, you know, a lot better than what I was last year. I think I've said before in interviews, going into it last year, I probably should never have played, you know, but I thought if I go there and you get through 1 or 2 games with the tournament, with the comp, what it is, and the venue, you know, something could click and change your mindset. But looking back, you know, you live and learn, and I probably shouldn't have played, but this year going there I'm in a better place, and form's good as well, so really looking forward to it.
What would success at the event look like for you this year?
Just to win it, really. Anything less than that, obviously, I wouldn't be like an unsuccessful tournament, because you could play well and then somebody could just outplay you. But, you know, obviously, having done what I've done there, every time you go there, you just want to go there to win. So if you don't win, obviously you're disappointed. So, yeah, nothing other than winning the tournament for me, really.
The amazing nature of the strength in depth, especially in the 2025 World Snooker Championship, means that we haven't even really got into talking about Mark Selby. And let's remember that we are talking about one of the greatest snooker players of all time. Hence, the CVs don't really match up. But what they do match up is they know each other very well. They've trained together for many years, practiced together for many years, all in Leicestershire. We're not sure which way of the fence that will mean either player will fall. But Al, just in terms of Mark Selby, what a season he's had so far, titles and gone deep in a lot of tournaments.
Absolutely. A couple of brilliant tournament wins, mostly that the British Open win. The final against John Higgins was, I think, his best performance of the season. He played well in the other one, incidentally, against John. But he comes into this championship on the back of a very consistent season. There are people out there, you've seen it there, that don't like that word consistency. But it's nice to come into the Crucible, I think, with a volume of work that he's put in. I think what it tells me is that we can never guarantee anything with any player, but it feels to me like he's going to perform well in this match. You know, the questions that we've been asking of him the last, you know, couple of years, and on and off the table, he's had 1 or 2 problems that we know about, but he's in a good place right now. You know, I think actually he's in the top 2 or 3 names on the shortlist to win this thing again.
He's won so many ranking titles, so many triple crowns. He loves the long format. How's he going to fare against Ben? How can Ben even respond?
Yeah, it's a difficult one when you're playing someone that you know and that you're good friends with. But I think Mark's going to deal with that a little bit better, I think, than Ben. He's got more experience in that aspect. And as you say, that getting that early win at the British Open against John Higgins in a big final, sort of set the season for him after having a couple of bad seasons. But yeah, he just looks a totally different person to me. His manner around the venue, around the table, his pace around the table, his attacking. And even when he's not playing as well as he has been, he's not bothered. He just sort of keeps that mentality, and I think that's what he's been lacking at the last couple of seasons before this one. So yeah, I can't see anything but a Mark Selby win here tonight.
Jimmy, just a word for Ben Woollaston. He's back after 12 years, and this is very much a family affair for him because his wife is one of the referees. Obviously, she's not going to be refereeing his match, but Tatiana, it's amazing for the pair of them, that brilliant story.
Yeah, I was talking to his wife early on in the season, and he just secured his tour place. He got enough ranking points, and she was saying to him, just go out there and enjoy it. Problem he's got is that he's schooled by Mark Selby. He's practiced with him. So he knows how devastating Mark Selby can be. So for Ben Woollaston to win this match, he's got to play his best snooker from start to finish. And you've always got to put Selby in the mix for the World Championship, longer frames. And he's had a good season. He's full of confidence. He's the ultimate professional. He's been here for 3 days looking at all the players and doing his work. And he'll be ready to go. You know, it's big ask for Ben Woollaston to beat Mark Selby at Sheffield.
But I will say a very similar thing would have been said against Joe O'Connor 12 months ago, and Joe managed to do exactly that. So could Ben repeat history? Well, the action will be kicking off very shortly indeed. The crowd have taken to their seats and the players have taken to the practice table. Judd Trump, Zhou Yuelong, the world #1, is currently leading Zhou by 3 frames. Will Zhou get out the traps flying? On Eurosport, there's speed climbing, golf and cycling. But on TNT, with NBA, it's the Warriors at the Rockets. It's the stage 4 of the Tour of the Alps. That starts tomorrow at 12:30. And the question is, which Luca Brissell will turn up for the second session against Wales's Ryan Day? And more imminently at the Crucible, Judd Trump takes the floor against the talented Zhou Yuelong after 9 frames already. Let's take a look back to see how it all took place.
3 times a ranking event finalist. He's the jumping dragon, Zhou Yuelong. 6 finals, 3 major trophies this season alone. Here comes the world number 1, Judd Trump.
Judd Trump, a serial tournament winner, but only the one triumph at the Crucible. He would love to put that to rights. So far it's been one-way traffic, and already you get the impression Judd Trump is on the road to progress. Breaks of 35 and 52, Zhou Yuelong wins frame 3. The concession arrives. Fair to say, I think that was more satisfactory than spellbinding. What a cracking break that was. And Judd Trump's control of this match tightens. The ace in the pack has got a good hand here. 5-1 up. It's been quite a lengthy evening for Zhou Yuelong. That was most certainly a lengthy frame, but in the end it was rewarding. Trump will feel that's 43 minutes wasted. Zhou Yuelong edges 1 a lengthy frame. Trump edges the next. But Zhou Yuelong wins 2 of the last 3 frames of the session. Yes, Judd leads 6-3. But Zhou Yuelong hasn't been fully trumped yet.
Commentator Phil Yates said more satisfactory than spellbinding. So with that said, Al, Judd Trump, 30 ranking titles, about as much as anybody. He's won some this season. He's the world number 1. But any question marks for you?
Yeah, there always are, as we know, and it's sometimes it's good fun to have a little look. Let's have a look at not the story of the session, but Judd Trump before we get to these. I think he actually struggles. Myself and Reanne were talking earlier on today, and Reanne made a good point. Actually, the evening sessions, we'll get to this, but have a look early on. It was brilliant stuff by Trump. I'm going to try and pause this, actually, just when the black goes in the pocket. It's that powerful. The black disappears. The cue ball almost hasn't started its journey yet, but feast your eyes on the power. I mean, I think no other player in the game could get the cue ball that far out into the table off 3 cushions. So a brilliant start, no problems. Then Zhou Yuelong, let's just touch on him. It was Jimmy actually who made the point. Your shot selection, we go on about it all the time, but you've got to be better. Let's put some lines up. He's trying to go off the red and cannon the other one. The problem is you're meeting the red almost face on. So the cue ball tends not to get out into the open. He should be coming off of here and then back across. It's actually a bigger target, and that way you can play it with more pace. You might even get 2 cushions, pot the red and get up for a baulk colour. Let's just run it for you. The cue ball, he doesn't get the pot. The cue ball doesn't go anywhere, so he's not going to be on the black anyway. And you can see him looking down there in complete disappointment with good reason. Then Judd later on in the match. Let's have a look at this one. Now, when Judd, talking about conditions, starts losing his cue ball, now let's put a line up here. He's going to be playing on that red, and he's got an acre of space to play into. This was the one shot that changed the course, I think, of the second half of the session. He meets the red, and all of a sudden he's wondering, how am I cueing, you know, that kind of thing. And then let's drag it on a bit later again. He's got this other one. He's steadying himself for it. It's one that he's got to use power. Just watch his bridge hand, actually, when he plays this. It's almost like pulling back, ready to release the trigger. And the bridge hand moves. Watch this. Watch the bridge hand. It just moves. Yeah. And he's a wee bit uneasy on the shot. It goes wrong. He doesn't pay the ultimate price for it. But let's drag it on the shot he's got next. Soon after. It's a safety shot with a bit of side. You'll watch the cue ball. This is not a titanium ferrule, actually. See it bending there, but he still hits it thick. So he's definitely unsettled at that point. Let's drag it on then. the unsettled nature continues because he's got a long red into the far corner and by this time he's losing a bit of control. Judd's all muscle car rather than classic cruiser, right? So watch this one. Trying to muscle the red in. It goes wide as the Clyde. No good. Zhou Yuelong then makes a really good move here, but he should have been doing more of this early on in the session. He's that good. I just didn't think he picked and chose his shots as well as he might have done. But this was, I think, shot of the set. Watch for another thing here. Watch his eyes go towards the pocket, almost a la Stephen Hendry. Watch this. Look at the eyes. Oh, that's unbelievable to me. I could never do that. It's almost like looking across that way. Very, very strange indeed. But the red goes in, brilliant shot, and then he gets about his work and makes 95. I think he's still in this. It's another night session. Conditions can be quite trying out there, and Judd doesn't like it when conditions are trying. He likes to slide and being able to, jag the cue ball around, no problem. So this match is far from done, Radzi.
Thank you very much indeed for that, Alan. I just wonder, with what I was talking about there about Zhou Yuelong still being in this, would Zhou be looking at the 6 Chinese men who've already gotten through to round 2 and think, well, if they can do it, so can I?
Yeah, there's talk that he's moved from Darlington. He was practising in an academy up there, and now he's come back to Sheffield, where all the Chinese lads are. They're all getting great success. I think they've got some sponsors as well from Sheffield. So he's back there. His game will be sharpened, but he didn't play well against Trump in that them first 6 frames. OK, Trump was good up to that point that Alan said about the yellow where he lost position. But, he struggled. And, if you're going to play a top player like Judd Trump, you've got to play good snooker. And he had chance, he didn't take it. That's because I don't think he's had many wins, but he's a fantastic player, fantastic curious. But I agree, he's got to take it to Trump tonight. He's got to attack. He's got to get in and win a few frames in one visit, because he's not going to win the match otherwise.
And then talking about the cue action, Alan said muscle car, not classic cruiser in terms of Trump. When his cue action's on, we've spoken about it being timing before, it's really on. Is it on at the moment for you?
Through the season, yeah, of course it's there. But as he says, the conditions affect him a lot more than most players out there because he comes across the ball, so he's got to time it to perfection. But as you saw, when he missed that yellow, we think he had a little bit, the bad position on the yellow, we saw him have a little miss, the big bounce a little bit. Then he started everything thick, which shows bad conditions out there, and he plays a little bit heavier, and that's what he doesn't like.
And look, sorry, Rad, I mean, he's the best player in the world, right? But the reason I sort of cast my critical eye on him is pretty much because he's the best player in the world. Why wouldn't we? We're looking for small faults that he's got. I just believe that sometimes in the Crucible... Look, this place asks you to be relaxed, but it tells you to be tight. So you've got to find that... I just think conditions can throw Judd a little bit here at the Crucible. The walls close in on you. But he's still the best player in the world, and he's got any chance of getting through.
Absolutely right. Just a reminder, as we see shots backstage, that you can watch our very special watch-along. That is live on TNT Sports, along with Darren Fletcher and Ali McCoist. It's going to be fun. It's not to be missed. But as for us, let's throw down to Rob the Talker Walker.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We started on Saturday with 32 of the finest players on the planet, and by the end of tonight, only 18 will remain. We're tantalisingly close to completing the second round lineup. And tonight we're graced with not one but 2 world champions. One's taking on the best of China, the other involved in a mouth-watering all-Leicester derby. Welcome back then for the climax of Day 5 at the Halo World Snooker Championship. Fantastic to see this player healthy again after long-term issues following his COVID jab. He's back in the big one for the first time in 12 years after victory over Ross Muir at the qualifiers. Welsh Open finalist, he will absolutely relish his long-awaited Crucible return. Here comes the flame-haired assassin of Leicester, Ben Woollaston. What a walk-on tune. And his opponent, emerging for a 21st consecutive Crucible campaign, 18 years after the first of his 6 appearances in the final. Winner of the British and Welsh Open titles this season. Fantastic to see him back on top form and enjoying his snooker once more. 4 times a champion of the world, the jester from Leicester, Selby. And now, to a player who qualified for a 3rd Crucible campaign after 4 successive Judgment Day defeats. 3 times a ranking event finalist, he showed all his class to take the last frame of the session yesterday. And he will be bang up for the challenge tonight. Here comes China's jumping dragon, Zhou Yuelong. And finally, to the most prolific winner of his generation, with 30 ranking titles to his name so far. After an excellent start yesterday, he's 4 frames away from a 13th appearance in the last 16. World champion in fine style 6 years ago. He's the reigning UK champion. He's the current world #1. He's the ace in the pack, Judd Trump.
Judd Trump is 50-1 on with certain bookmakers to win this match. Surely.
Hello, welcome along. So for the first time, we are here at the World Snooker Championships with a very special watch-along. I'm Darren Fletcher, alongside my regular partner, Ali McCoist. What about this, Ali? I never thought we'd end up here.
No. There's a few places I did think we'd end up. The Crucible certainly wasn't one of them, Jimmy. It's fantastic to be here. Came here earlier on this afternoon. Brilliant to be here.
So this is day 5. We've got Chris Wakeling with us, who's already through. Beat Neil Robertson, plays Mark Allen tomorrow. Chris, welcome along.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, pleasure to be here.
Great to see you, mate.
And we've got Jimmy White as well. Of course we've got Jimmy White.
I'm part of the furniture, me. Don't buy that.
Now, I've got to start, before we get into the match that we're going to focus on tonight, which is Judd Trump against Zhou Yuelong. You've had a nightmare day today. You've had a terrible day today.
Jimmy, Chris, I've had better days. For some shape or reason, I jumped on the wrong train. I went at plenty of time, St Pancras, right, and I've got my Sheffield ticket. Train leaves at 12:02, right? I'm there 5 to 12, no problem at all. Walk up platform 4. There's people on the train, so I jump on it. No bother. I think 12:02. We're not away yet. Anyway, 12:05. Away we go, Jimmy. And then 10 minutes after it, the ticket boy comes up. He says, "Can I see your ticket?" I said, "No problem at all." Show them my ticket. He says, "You're on the wrong train." I says, "What do you mean I'm on wrong?" He says, "This train's going to Nottingham." I said, "But it's platform 4. He said, "That was the train in front."
Wow.
So anyway, never want to panic in a crisis. Got off at Leicester. Had a cup of coffee at Leicester, Jimmy. Jumped on the train to Sheffield and I've made it. I missed Ronnie's 3 frames, though, to be fair.
Oh, wow.
4?
Which wasn't ideal.
4? You missed the entire session, but you got back for the 1-3-1.
I walked in, sat down, and they got a 1-3-1. So
yeah.
Made up.
Fantastic. Last time I got on a train, actually, I'd done the same thing. I was same destination, but I got on the wrong train. So I had to buy a new ticket because it was a different company. The geezer wouldn't like be negotiated at all, yeah. So you got to be careful with them trains.
Well, that was a Scotsman in me. There was no way I was paying for another ticket, Jimmy. I can tell you that, mate.
Talking about travelling, once when the sat-nav first come out, I'm playing Kirk Stevens in the semi-final in a tournament to get into the... it was a Premier League snooker type thing. And I've put in Manfield instead of Mansfield. Like, I definitely won't be on countdown. So it's a Sunday morning, and I'm just like happy as Larry, going along in my car, and all of a sudden it took me off the motorway. I thought, no problem at all. All of a sudden, I've got to Manfield, which is somewhere like near Newcastle, right? So it's like 11:30 in the morning. I've got to be on at 2 o'clock. Put in Mansfield, 120 odd miles. Put my foot down all the way. Got changed more or less driving, and just got there 2 minutes to spare. So I thought TNT would have sent you down in an helicopter. What's happening?
And the best it is, Jimmy, my own helicopter's then getting fixed. I'm on a problem with one of the blades, and it's
Getting
then getting fixed.
serviced.
So get it sorted.
Chris, before we focus on this one tonight, great win for you. Now you've got Mark Allen tomorrow. I've got to ask you, because we're going to talk about all kinds of things tonight. First of all, how big a win was that for you based on what you think you can do here this year?
No, it was a massive win for me. My debut 7 years ago, I lost 10-9 to Judd Trump, which I'm sure a lot of snooker fans will remember. The match that was nearly a breakthrough moment in my career. So to finally get over the line on Sunday against Neil was a huge achievement for me. It was a huge box ticked in the Wakeling career.
I've got to ask you, though, about this. And we're going to show everybody what we're talking about. This is right at the point when you realised you were going to win. And now there's this famous shot that's gone viral, really, of your hand shaking.
Yeah, so obviously getting over the line was magic, as we can see here. I was a massive weight lifted when Neil conceded, but you can see there with my hand shaking, I'd been gifted an absolute golden chance to win the match, thinking that the black was going to go back on the pink spot, and as soon as the referee pulled out a marker and went to measure to see if the black fit on the spot, I knew it was game over, and I'd gone from a perfect chance to win to in Shredsville, as Jimmy would say.
Yeah, we all presumed he was nervous, Jim, but you said it was the realisation that this was the time.
I was shocked. The shaking was pure shock, because I was calm as a coma, like there, ready to to get over the line. But when she respotted that black, I all of a sudden realised then that I've got to work hard again to get back in the game.
It's astonishing. Were you ever nervous?
Absolutely. Don't worry about that. Yeah, 100%. You're nervous. I don't know you boys, but I quite like nerves, Jimmy. You know, Chris, I quite liked a bit of nerves. Kept you on your toes. You could use it to your benefit. You know?
Yeah, you've got to be a little bit nervous. That's after buzz. Sometimes if you get too nervous, or you sort of start making mistakes, you start thinking about your cue action. Chris was 7-2 in front. Outplayed Neil Robson, one of the greatest players in the world, who's having a good season. All of a sudden, it's like now it's close. Yeah. So all of a sudden, like you're sort of. Your thinking is not as clear. So he's done well to win the match, because he could have easily lost that match at that stage, because they're levels, and he was playing Neil Robertson. But he won the match in the first session. He's got great belief in his own ability and his will to win. I've often heard Chris talk in interviews when he gets beat, well, I'm on to the next one, like I'll go again. And he's won tournaments. So, he's a handful for anyone.
First chance of the night here, Chris. We're keeping an eye on Judd Trump at the table. First real opportunity for him tonight. He's the favourite to win the tournament. He's won it once before. UK champion this year as well. But he's not always found it easy, has he? When he's come to the Crucible. What about his chances to win it this year?
I think it's important for Judd to play well in this first round match, because he's number one in the world for a reason. But he's only won this championship once, and for the talent that he's got. Everyone who follows snooker would expect him to have won it 3 or 4 times by now, but that is testament to how strong the game is nowadays. And Judd lost in the quarterfinals last year. He was probably expecting to get over the line against Jack Jones, but I think he's got a few demons here himself, Judd. So he'd love to get this match out of the way comfortably and focus on the second round.
Here's a question for the two of you guys. Judd Trump, favourite, number one in the world. You say the best player in the world at this moment in time. The obvious thing for me, and perhaps Darren to say, would be you don't want to play him in the tournament. Is it as straightforward as that, or are there guys that you do like to play in a tournament and somebody you'd like to, you wouldn't like to play at all?
I think Jimmy will agree with me on this one, that, there's only a couple of matches in my entire career I look back on and think I just got totally battered and I had no chance of winning that match. But, as much as Judd is the best player in the world, you're always going to get your chances to win.
Yeah, see, for me, like Mark Selby, we talk about, like Chris, grew up practicing with Mark Selby and Ben Woollaston. With Mark Selby, a bit like Steve Davis, even if you beat them, you've been in a war. You know what I mean? Because they're so difficult. People like Judd Trump, it's more open. So if you count a score with them and stay with them, you've got every chance. Sometimes with someone like Selby or Steve Davis, they can just close you out and you don't get going. It's a real difficult match. But Judd Trump, Chris is right, Judd Trump has had a few demons here. I don't think he likes the conditions. And, but when he gets to a one-table situation, which he's been there a few times now, he's only won it once, he's got every chance. But he's number one in the world because this season he's already won 3 tournaments. But Yao Ying-tong has played incredible, the young Chinese boy. O'Sullivan looked good the second half.
Yeah, I believe it.
There's so many winners. He can win it if he plays his top game all the way through, for sure.
Jim, when you say he doesn't like the conditions, define conditions in terms of what he doesn't like here.
Well, sometimes it can be a bit heavy here, first round. I don't know why. Maybe it'd be the atmosphere, in the venue. Sometimes they go to China and it is even more heavier. But, last year, that match that Chris was talking about where he played Jack Jones, he really struggled with the table. He couldn't make anything happening. Even when he was getting in the balls, he was losing the cue ball, the easy stuff. He was making it difficult. So when it's heavy conditions, because Trump's all about timing the ball. If he's not timing the ball and it's a bit heavy, he can struggle.
You mentioned conditions there, Jim. I've got to ask you, right, generally speaking, I can understand you're getting different tables wherever you go for different tournaments, where it's China all over the place. But when you come to the Crucible, generally speaking, is it the same table you get all the time?
Well, they try and do the best they can. I think this season, for me, I think they've got the tables pretty good. But, you're always going to get the odd little roll here and there once the table settles. But it's just, for me, I've never struggled with the atmosphere here or the conditions. But it's been noted that Trump does. He struggles. And, be interested to ask him, is it heavy? Is it when the it's raining outside or what? I don't know, but he seems to struggle sometimes here.
We've got a variety of guests coming in during the course of the night. Chris and Jimmy to kick it off. Cliff Thorburn, the former world champion, is going to join us. Ronnie O'Sullivan has promised to pop in later. In fact, we've invited everybody, haven't we? Invitations all over the place.
Lady, you name it, we've invited them in.
We will find out this evening how popular you are because you've been doing all the inviting.
I have been.
Chris, what about the mindset when you come out 6-3? So he's in a really good position here, but he knows he's playing against a dangerous player. He's about to go 7-3 now. How important is it not to switch off, to keep the focus? Because when you get to this tournament, I'm sure every player in the draw is able to come back and bite you if you do lose any kind of focus.
Judd knows that he's in the driving seat right now, and he's just got to stay on top of his opponent. I mean, these first-round matches, you can lose to anybody, and in the qualifying, we've seen somebody... Anthony Hamilton nearly lost from 9-0 in front. So as much as Judd will be feeling relaxed right now, if he can stay on top of Yulong, then he knows that he's going to get to the winning line. But if he starts giving Yulong a few openings, it can soon turn around.
And a quick one on your game tomorrow, Mark Allen. How are you feeling?
Yeah, all good. I mean, I was quite stressed after the game finished on Sunday, having been 7-2 up and pegged back to 7-all. But been home for a couple of days. A little bit of practice and relaxed and ready to rock and roll again.
Fantastic.
I know you don't mind me asking him a question, do you?
No, carry on, Jimmy.
I'm nicking your thunder.
No,
the floor's yours, Jim.
When you, when you went 7-2 up, you put that fantastic blue, pink and black, and you give it the fist pump, right? I know. I heard in an interview you said to your friends, "I've not won it yet. Nothing's won yet." But for me, I felt like that you sort of, because you knew that it was more or less impossible for you to lose the match. You had to really make a lot of mistakes, and then he come back at you at 7 each. Do you think you went early with the fist pump?
Not at all. No. That was just purely the fact that 6-3 and 7-2 is a massive difference.
Sure.
Same as 6-3 and 5-4. At 5-4, it doesn't really feel like anyone's got a lead. But Judd being 3 frames in front, it's a nice lead. But if you're 5 frames in front, you know that your opponent has got to play out their skin to catch up.
Right.
So it may. I never even thought about it as a fist bump at the time.
No, yeah.
It was just letting out that raw emotion from those 3 shots because you know the gravity of the situation.
Cool.
Well, he's about to go 7-3 here, so Judd Trump getting ever closer to a place in the second round. And he's going to get a lot of confidence here, Jimmy, briefly, because we've got to take a break when the frame finishes. He's going to get a lot of confidence starting off the evening session like this.
Yeah, yesterday he started off brilliant. Trump, all his long potting was there. You know, he was scoring heavy, and then he went 5-1 in front. Got a little bit of a bounce, and then the next 3 games were a bit scrappy. So he's reset, Trump. You know, when you play a player in a session, you know sort of their strength and game, you know, the game plan sort of thing. I knew he was going to come out tonight and get the job done. He's not completely done yet, but it's close.
So that's the perfect start to the night for Judd Trump. 7-3. He now leads Zhou Yuelong. Chris, thanks for coming in. We wish you well tomorrow.
Certainly do,
when we come back, we're going to be joined by the 1980 world champion, Cliff Thorburn. Welcome back to the Crucible, where Cliff Thorburn's joined us, the 1980 world champion, the first man with a 147 here at the Crucible. Welcome along.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Great to see you.
Yeah, I've been here for quite a few years now, and it's great to be here. Great to be here.
Absolutely.
I had a microphone in my hand. Sorry, I didn't realise.
Easy done. Just to say as well, that's the 95th century of the season for Judd Trump in the opening frame tonight.
You've disappointed me. Jimmy, I swear to God, the only thing I said, I'm going to get that in before him. That was the only start I had. I was banking on that.
But if he gets to 100 centuries,
he gets 100 grand.
There you go. We shared it, you see.
We did share it. That's what it's all about.
So he's on to 95. And if he lasts much longer in the tournament, he's
must
bound
have
to
a
get there,
chance.
isn't he?
Oh, massive chance, yeah. I think him and Robertson are the only 2 players to have done that. I'm not 100% sure. I know Robertson done it once, and I've just been told by Rob that it has been done by Trump as well. So it's a fantastic achievement. Just shows how consistent he is, you know. And today, Sean Murphy, he went for a 147 because if you get 2 147s in a Triple Crown, you get extra 147,000. And he played on the black instead of playing on the blue and lost the frame. So that makes it exciting. Whether Trump will be in a situation where he can play a shot to get another century, or just make sure the frame will have to wait and see.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the big ways, isn't it, where the game's changed from the 1980s to today. The fact that so many players score so many centuries. We did a programme with Jimmy and Ronnie the other week, and Jimmy said that Alex Higgins had less than 100 centuries in his career, and Ronnie O'Sullivan's closing in on 1,300. I mean, this is the big difference now, isn't it? The way players score.
Yeah, well, after what you just said about the 100 grand for 100 centuries, I had 100 centuries in my career. And I don't think I got anything. But, I did. Oh, the 147 here, yeah. No, I didn't. No, well, I wasn't trying to be funny there. But, I mean, for somebody to have 100 in 1 year is truly phenomenal, Jimmy. And he's approaching, he's over 1,000 now, isn't he, Judd Trump? Which is tremendous.
Absolutely phenomenal. And, it's good that World Snooker put up these extra bonuses, It makes it exciting, makes people going for the 147s. And, when you talk about Higgins, only had 45 centuries because when he got to a certain stage in the break, he used to entertain the crowd.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't make as many centuries as he should. But there's much more tournaments nowadays, and so there is a bigger circuit. But it's still amazing, even to get 50 centuries in a season is fantastic. Yeah.
Talk on the subject of centuries, Cliff. I've got to ask you. I mean, since you brought it up, it's only fair we ask you about it. At what point did you realise it's on? I'm going for it.
Well, first of all, I felt terrible for about 1/2 a second, that I actually fluked the first ball. But after about 3 or 4...
We can have a look at it.
Yeah, after about 3 or 4 reds, boy, that was... Well, I did that one quickly, didn't it? Yeah.
Brilliant.
I did throw one shot.
Yeah, big Bill looking round when he's on the yellow. If he'd have missed the yellow, it'd be Bill's fault. But.
But it was Bill's head coming across like the Michelin Man in the movie, whoa. But it was quite calming actually for me when I saw that. So
Big
it was
Bill
great.
looks as though he was on a percentage here, Cliff. Was he on a percentage at all?
No, just the beer sales.
But that yellow was,
a great
phenomenal shot in the 147 because he's come where he has to punt it off the cushion and it makes it so missable. So once that went on, we knew he was going to get a 147.
Well, here's a quick question for the two of you, and I mean this the nicest possible way. You've been around the block, you've seen the game over years and years and years. What are the biggest differences now to say perhaps 20, 25 years ago? I mean, one of the questions we were talking was a titanium Q and all that kind of stuff that we're talking about earlier on today.
Titanium ferrule.
Well, there you are. Well, that kind of threw me, to be brutally honest with you. But what do you two guys think have been the biggest changes that you've noticed?
Well, I think it's similar to football. I think the people are more professional. When they get to a standard, they have coaches make them improve on other parts of their game. There's so many good players around now as well. And I think the conditions are a lot easier with the balls. The balls open up. Like before, you'd have to sort of pick reds off. It was very difficult to open up the balls. Stephen Ender invented the blue into the pack off the pink spot. We used to go into the pack off the black. So, the game's more open, more attacking. And, so many good players coming through now. I just think... The difference is, just more players, I think, and more quality.
I think that we played on more different tables all the time.
Yeah.
And, it just sort of, it seemed like they were, it's like the cloth was different. The cloth is, the main thing now is that the cloth is very thin. And like all the players are basically playing on the same table all day long. They've got a table at home, which is, identical. It's a heated table. It's got the same cloth. They've all got the same lighting, and they all had the same effect that when the cue ball, that shot that Jimmy was talking about, like the half ball blue and, smashing the blue in the side and spreading the pack. Well, that's, they've got that shot, every day, even at home. And if you go to a different room or club or play on a different table, you have to aim that shot differently, but these guys are like machines. You can call them robots or whatever you want, but you got to work really hard, to maintain the standard that everybody's playing right now. And some people say that might be easier, but I'll tell you, these guys earn their money.
Absolutely.
Just keeping an eye, Jimmy, on this frame. I mean, he's in the balls again here.
Yeah.
Judd Trump, he's going to go 8-3 here by the looks of it.
Yeah, I knew he'd reset. The last couple of games last night, lost the last frame, but he sort of, from 5-1 up, he missed a few. And, Trump now, he's added this safety game to his shot-making game, and he's such a good winner. And, he would have reset tonight and realised, I've got to go in again. And his natural game is to attack. And now, the 8-3, more or less all over, to be fair.
Yeah, another question I've got for the pair of you, obviously, and I've got to say it's fantastic I've got the two of you here in the studio. How much do you think the game in general is mental and talent, natural talent?
It's huge. For me, my focus was in and out all the time when I was playing. And nowadays, you have all these tools when you're sitting in your seat, because it's the only sport in the world where you're sitting in your seat, there's nothing else you can do. So while you're in your seat, no disrespect, you're playing Cliff, you're going to be in your seat for a long time if he's in the balls, I
resemble that remark.
So, you've got to stay focused down the ball. Peter Ebden's been working with Sean Murphy. You can see how he's focused in his seat. Before, he'd be looking around at the audience and, vote for me. And, so it's a huge aspect of the game. You've got to, stay completely focused while you're in your seat, because all of a sudden they can get a kick or they can just miss an easy one and you're not ready.
He could be on for 96 here, 96th century of the season here. Judd Trump, it looks like he's going to get another century. Did you set out when you played Jimmy way back when to drive him mad? Because he liked to play quick. Did you think?
No, actually, I'll say it once again that Jimmy was my favourite opponent, and it's not because Jimmy's here, but we never had any problems whatsoever. And you know, Jimmy didn't get into a safety battle with me, and he actually made me play more of an attacking game because I had to play that.
We had some fantastic matches. You know, when you play Cliff, another one. You know, even if you beat Cliff, like you feel like you've been through the ringer. You know, some players you can win, and you know you think, oh, I played really comfortable there. But Cliff was such a fantastic player. He was a great positional player as well as a great safety player. So you knew if you left him in, his cue ball control was that good that you know he's not going to make a positional mistake. Like Luca Purcell, great shot maker, brilliant player, fantastic world champion, but his cue ball's running around the table a bit. So if you're sitting in your seat, you think you might have a chance here. People like Cliff, when the balls were open, you knew that he was going to score.
So he's on to 96. He's done another century. So that's back-to-back centuries to start tonight. I mean, you can't start any better than this.
No, but I want to say something about Judd Trump. Is that, you know, I know that he had a couple of, first frame losses here. But this is the kind of situation, like especially with Judd, you've got to look for, is that, you know, like to win tournaments, you have to get better as you go on. I guess like that. So, you know, like you play in the FA Cup, you know, you wouldn't know about that at all, would you?
Cliff, we've got to dive to the break. We're just about out of time. When we come back, we've got John Higgins and Alan McManus, so stay with us.
What am I going?
So welcome back to the Crucible for this special watch-along. I'm Darren Fletcher. Ali McCoist is here. We've got two brand new guests, Ali.
I tell you what, we've got two brand new guests, and I can absolutely confirm you there'll be no football talk this evening. Right, just to get that, I'm getting that out there immediately. There'll be absolutely no football talk. It'll be all snooker.
So should I say we've got two Celtic fans, or should I say we have Alan McManus and John Higgins?
The latter would suit me better.
So that's the only reason I'm in here.
I was actually told this afternoon that you were coming in because you got a few things to say to Ali.
I nearly never turned up.
I texted John yesterday and I said, listen, you've got to be here because Ali's, you know, with the Celtic thing.
I've not got a lot to sing about here. I have not got a lot to sing about here, I can tell you that. But it's great to see the boys. How are you, first of all, John?
Yeah, great. Yeah, no, brilliant. Good first win.
Good form.
First match against Joe O'Connor. And, so play again tomorrow night.
Good. Here's the first question I've got for you. When you're in the tournament, I'm guessing you do get back up the road?
No.
Not at all?
I never went back up because I finished... when did I finish? I played... you're in your little bubble here. I think I finished on Monday night, so then I'm playing again Thursday night. So there's no point going home on Tuesday and then you get home and then you're basically coming back down.
A couple of days practice.
So I've got an apartment here, so a couple of days practice and just football chat with Alan and things. So it passes the day, no problem.
Is that the way now? Get an apartment rather than a hotel, so you've got that bit of space to get away from everything.
I think a lot of the boys have done that in the last few years. Now, not that none of the boys are talkative and we got on well with everybody, but I think it's just good when you walk into a hotel, everybody's basically, it seems as if they're here for the snooker. So they just want to come up and chat to you. So it's sometimes just good to get yourself away.
But that's another question I was going to ask you, lads. See, like in a major tournament, I mean, there clearly be players that you do go on with better than others. I get all that. But is there a bond? Is there a camaraderie amongst you all? Or is it very much business?
No, I mean, it's just from my own personal experience. All the Scottish boys, we've always got on great. Me, Now, Alan,
largely because the rest of them don't know what we're saying half the time. That's the way, and even the boys for the maybe the south. Sort of east area, Joe Perry's and all the Mark Dave. There's a wee sort of not clique, but there's a wee group of them, and you all gravitate towards one another, didn't you? You know, was it like that in the footy? Did you have your little, dressing room?
Do you know something? It was very much the same. We were lucky. We, generally speaking, with a great dressing room. Even the Scotland boys, I swear to God, the Scotland boys lads, but whether it was with a Hart, Paul McStay and Big Roy Aiken and all the boys, when we were international duty, it was, a big communal table with Coop and all that stuff. It was great, it really was.
How could you handle that bit, Ali? I've always wondered, like, 1 minute you're kicking lumps out each other.
Oh, great,
and
man.
then the next minute you're kicking lumps out each other on the Saturday or Sunday, then you're going away on the Monday.
Brilliant. But it was brilliant. And that's the way it was. Everybody knew the rules. You could be playing Celtic on a Saturday, be kicking lumps at each other on the Sunday. You're up at Gleneagles Hotel because you've got an international. And it's magic. And one of the best stories is at the moment, Wee Granty, and I love Wee Granty. Wee Granty's brilliant. Wee Granty's boy's working beside my boy now. It's amazing, isn't it? And the two of them got a house on fire. The two of them as thick as thieves. It's brilliant.
Peter Grant, and he's on the radio and all that these days. He still loves it.
Peter the Point.
Great.
Peter the Point.
He was great, man. He was different class.
Am I allowed to be in here, Big?
Yes, come on.
Am I okay? Yeah. So on the football conversation then. So Luca Brissell, was it today?
Yes.
Has likened himself to Ronaldinho. He said in terms of if I was going to make my comparison snooker player to a footballer, I would be Ronaldinho. That's a big call, that, if you look at Brissell.
It's a massive
That's
call.
a huge call.
I mean, he's gone for it there.
I know.
I mean,
I take it he's talking about his style on the table.
I think so.
Right, okay.
I've got to say,
I thought he might be talking about his nights out. I don't know.
Well, maybe I.
They're pretty legendary as well. I think Luca's nights out. So, maybe.
Well, I mean, to be fair to him, he's not messing about. He's threw in Ronaldinho right away. I mean, he's no hit as well, he's not Harry Kane or anything like that. He's threw in Ronaldinho. So obviously fancies himself as a bit of a talent, a bit of a boy. I mean, fair play to him. I mean, he could have gone the full hog and meant Messi or Maradona, but he cut himself short with Ronaldinho.
I think he's left that to Ronnie, hasn't he?
How impressive, Alan, has this start been tonight for Judd Trump? I saw your breakdown earlier, spoke about the conditions, maybe not a massive fan of the Crucible, one or two issues here, but he's come out firing tonight, back-to-back centuries.
I think what it tells you is Judd would have been back home in Dubai. He's, it's well publicised in Dubai now. But what you're seeing, I think, is preparation. He's obviously put the hours in. He always does, Judd, though, doesn't he, John? But see, somebody like John can watch a top player, and just with the way they're hitting the ball and the way the cue ball's behaving, he'll go, he must have been practising hard. I know it's small differences, but guys like John can see it, me to a certain extent. Judd looks razor sharp. He's been amazing tonight.
You need to explain to me then, the two of you, right? Is he just a freak of nature then? Because we spoke to Ronnie a few weeks back, and he won it, when was it? He won it, and he picked up a cue all season, and then he only picked up a cue, he said, was it last month?
2013 that was,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, to somebody like me who loves his snooker, that is absolutely incredible. You mentioned Judd, you can see he's been practising, he's been on the table every day, and then you get somebody like, is that just a freak of nature, that?
Who, Ronnie?
Yeah,
of course it is. He is a freak of a player, but listen, he's been playing the game for 40 odd years. He could have a few months off and he could be back within a week, and he can be playing as well as he can ever play. I know sometimes you make a bigger thing about he's not played for all these months, but he'll have been practising a lot now and then. Obviously, you've seen it the first maybe 9 frames yesterday. He wasn't really at it, and Ali had his chances, but I think Ali missed the boat yesterday. And then when Ronnie came in today, he played unbelievable. Didn't he?
The truth of the matter actually is, I call myself a normal player when I was playing. John's different, right? Those guys are different, right? John doesn't like hearing that, but that's the truth. I couldn't do that. I couldn't go and not play for a month and then play decent. I just couldn't do it. John can, Judd. That's where they're different.
Well, it's funny you mentioned being different, Alan, and you'll back me up here. What's that? Ronnie, a great crack with Ronnie and Jimmy. They're in brilliant form, John. And the one thing I got from the two of them, right, was the unbelievable, and so they should, by the way, unbelievable respect they had for Stephen and yourself, right? And Ronnie said something to the two of us, and he meant it as a compliment, by the way. He was singing your praises, but what he said was he felt he should have won more, right? Now, he wasn't having a go at you. He was actually singing your praises, and he said, with your talent, he thought you could have, in fact, should have won more. How do you take that? Do you think you could have or should have?
Myself, yeah, possibly. But it's tough out there, Ali. No, I mean, it's tough out there, and as you say, I think us Scots are built different. I think Stephen's the only one out of us Scots that was really just flew at everything. Now, whereas normally we're percentage guys, me, Alan, Steve McGuire, like we're percentage players the way we grew up. So I've just never changed that way. And I would love to go out and fly at balls the same way Judd and Ronnie do, because it's amazing to watch, but I'm just not built that way now. So I've won what I've won, and
I think for John, I can't speak for him, but I think for John, when he won it in '98, this thing here, he didn't assume he was going to knock off another 2 or 3 in the next 5 or 6 years, but I think we all thought that was going to happen, and it didn't happen, John, innit? It
was probably because I was going to watch Celtic and Rangers all the time, and I wasn't really practising that much. I was having a good time. But
by the way, he's won another one here.
I know.
So this is
and we've not really got to talk about Celtic Rangers, have we?
I mean,
let's
move on.
Let's have a bit of Judd
You are
Trump,
it's Judd's fault for rattling through the balls.
We're getting thrown out, but anyway, so are you happy Celtic are dominating just now, Al? Can I just ask
Quite frankly, it makes me ill, John, for want of a better description.
Listen, you've made us ill when we grew up watching football.
A bit of payback, boys. I don't mind a bit of payback.
You've made us ill.
I'll tell you what, I was at a game. Me and John were talking this afternoon about some of the old games we were at that you were playing, and I was there when you did the robot at the Rangers end at Celtic Park. I was at that one. I was also at the 2-1 cup final. When it was raining, Big Paul Elliott scored.
I remember it.
And Mark Walters scored the winner. I was at that. John.
And then I get pneumonia the night semi-finals of Celtic played Rangers. You're down to 10 men.
Wasn't it one Robertson?
Exactly. I'm in the Celtic end. We never get a cover. Now, Rangers fans, they get
Rangers
covered.
Rangers end was covered. The Celtic end wasn't covered.
It was torrential.
We didn't care about the result. We just hoped it rained.
Let me just dive in. He's got another century here. That's 3 in a row. He might get the 100 grand tonight. Can he get the 100 grand tonight? He might be one short, I think, if he gets one in the next. But it looks like he's going to get it.
I think he'll get it in the Championship, won't he? What an achievement.
That's phenomenal.
100 centuries over the season. It's going to be an incredible achievement.
The boys were in, John. Jimmy.
I thought Ronnie was impressive the way he started this afternoon against Ali Carter. You were on a different train, but I was in the arena. But
That's how.
Did you hear about this, John?
No.
You got on the wrong train.
On the wrong train.
You missed the train to Sheffield.
All right.
So that's another thing for you. He had it on Discovery Plus on his phone.
Train. Not my finest day.
See the difference, actually, Darren, with what Judd's doing at the moment. He's going crazy here, quite frankly. But the way he does it, when the other guy's sitting in the chair taking this punishment, is different from the way John and Ronnie do it. They're classical players. I was saying earlier in touch.
Alan, I've got to dive in. These breaks come thick and fast at the end of frames, but you guys are going to stay with us. So we'll be back. You're staying there, John. We'll be back in a minute. John's not going anywhere, I promise you. Welcome back to the Crucible. Ali's reaching for the glasses.
I had to go for the glasses.
It's all getting slightly chaotic. John Higgins is still here. Alan McManus is still here. Ronnie O'Sullivan's coming in later. Other people are coming too. We have no real idea who's going to be dropping in, when, why.
They've all been invited. Everybody.
I've got to ask you, if you're Zhou Yuelong at this point, and you would have come out tonight thinking, I've got to win the first frame, I've got to make a good start. You've been on the end of 3 centuries. You're now staring defeat in the face. How do you galvanise yourself now to keep going, John?
I don't think he can. I think Zhou's... He knows he's going to lose. Now, there's no way he's coming back with the very form Judd's in. He's not winning 7 in a row. So he's resigned himself to probably going to lose. But little story, I practiced with Zhou a couple of days ago. I had a best of 19 with him in the academy. And he was asking me a few things. Now, what should he be doing? How should he be pushing on in the game? Because me and Alan know that Zhou, along with Xingtong a few years ago, was one of the top like prospects to really come through and break through. I thought he got to a few finals and he lost pretty heavily to Robertson.
The European
Masters. But he was getting there and he was just on the cusp of the top 16.
And in Northern Ireland, he was 4-1 up to Mark Allen that time and he lost in the final. Lost the last 8 in a row, didn't I think? But
so he was asking, how does he get better? Because I think he's been practicing 7 hours a day. 7 hours a day, 7 days a week. Really? And he says he's trying to get there. And I just told him, you've got to go the opposite. You've got to maybe take a few days off. You've got to... And he says, that's funny because when I first came here, I was enjoying it more with a group of Chinese boys. He was having a few days off. They were going out, they were paintball, they were doing different things. He says, I wasn't playing every day and I was getting better results. It's as if he's wanting it more now, but it's having the opposite effect.
Well, see that, John, you mentioned that, and he's obviously got a desire, clearly, which is a great thing, to do well. Is it harder for guys like that with a background where you guys can maybe go to, I don't know, a Stephen Henry, or you could maybe Jimmy, or Steve Davis, whoever, whereas they don't, or do they have somebody to go to?
I think Ding's always, he's a main guy at the academy. He's a guy that they've always probably looked up to. But it's similar to when I first started with Alan, and Alan was probably like my mentor as well. But we used to play in the club in Glasgow and Denison. And I think when it stops becoming enjoyable, see when it starts to become your job, I think that can have a detrimental effect in your game. Because I can remember going in and playing Alan. There was other boys there. You were playing little tournaments. So you're actually playing for the whole day and you're not really knowing you're playing the whole day. Now,
see what John's saying there about Zhou Yuelong asking John for advice. I like that because that's unusual, isn't it?
Yeah.
You would think that would happen. It doesn't, doesn't it?
No.
I mean, even we spent years together in the club and you would have went in, you were playing with Stephen and taking, beatings from him and then you were dishing it out. But you wouldn't say, like, what do you think of the way I'm doing this? And the way you kind of... You don't get involved too much with each other's technique and all that, don't you? Unless you're asked about it.
You don't want to be the reason.
You don't want
to be the reason if you start playing bad.
It's a funny thing, isn't it, with snooker guys, you know?
Is there a situation now as well? I think I'm right in saying there are 10 Chinese players here at the Crucible.
Yes.
Some have been knocked out already. But the expectation levels are starting to rise. Now we're looking and saying, well, who's going to be the first Chinese world champion? Do you think that puts a bit more pressure on them when they come into this situation? Whereas in the past, they were here finding their way, the sport was growing, they were becoming bigger players in World Championship terms. But now, when you go into this tournament, you say, well, OK, is this going to be the year where we get a Chinese world champion for the first time?
Possible. I mean, there are different pressures. The way I was thinking about it just the other day, obviously, we had a great Chinese contingent in this tournament. But I was thinking about it, just touching on a football thing. Why the Brazilians be the way they are, the way they can play football? We know they are, on the beach and all the samba stuff, right? I would say that's the John and the Ronnie and the Mark Williams thing. They learned in a kind of different way when they were kids. The Chinese players have learned more recently, and it's all been straight lines and technique, which they're brilliant at. That's what they, on the back of Ding. But they maybe don't have that flexibility in their game, for want of a better word. Do you know what I mean?
They don't have the ring craft in a way.
That's it. Aye.
And they're not really going to get that ring craft when they're playing in amongst themselves.
Yeah.
So you would think some of them should maybe come over and base themselves maybe in Scotland. Maybe playing with the likes of
it's like, sorry, Alistair. For example, say the Brazilian thing again. I'm guessing you would have played these guys. And they put their foot in the ball and they go, dump it. And they're not even doing anything. They're mesmerising you. That's what the Johns and the Ronnies and that, they don't need to... it's the wee touch.
It's funny you mentioned Scotland playing against Brazil, because he happened famously in 1982. Are you going to speak about that? You've spoken about the old...
No. I'm glossing over every Brazil performance that we've been involved in, we'll gloss over. But getting back to the point, and it's a great point you make about playing at a level and training at a level, because how important is it? I'm guessing, I don't even know, you might have a table in the house, right? You probably do have a table in the house.
Have you seen the size of John's house?
But
of course he's got a table in there.
My question is this. How important is it to go to the club in Denniston, play with Alan, play with other guys, practice with other guys? How important is that? Or is it sometimes beneficial being insular in the house yourself, bang, I'm focused?
Well, that's the reason why I'm sitting here. That guy there, Stephen Henry, because I started when I was 15 and I started playing with Alan. Alan was 3 or 4 years older. He was just turning professional. So I got to spend 2 or 3 years practicing with Alan, and then after that I went and practiced about 2 or 3 years with Stephen Henry. That was invaluable. Now, if I never had that 5 years grounding with those two great players, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right
What
now.
about when you turned pro in 92 with Mark Williams, with Ronnie O'Sullivan, and they've been rivals and on tour, and you're all three of you are multiple world champions? How important has that been as a driving force and a motivation to be better than them?
Well, that's what you're talking about. That's what probably drove you on a little bit as well. That you were thinking, right? I want to try and be world champion before they two, and I managed to do that. But then, obviously, the guy Ronnie streaked ahead on to 7. But we've sort of, although there's been other great players in the game, they've been the sort of guys that I've always measured my success because we grew up together. And I respected them so much.
See, the thing about those boys, the class of 92, they became streetwise at the age of 17 on the table. You know, all the wee moves, all the samba snooker that you need. But then the hard, they've also got the hard stuff where you've got to dig in. You know, you're 4-1 down here at the Crucible. Right, hold on a minute here. I need to figure out how I can get to the at 5-4 down or whatever.
How fortunate, Alan, are snooker fans to have these three have careers like they've had for this length of time? I mean, we talk about Federer, Nadal, Djokovic. I mean, it doesn't happen very often in sport, does it?
No, it's not even a generational thing. It's a lifetime thing. It's almost the modern day. We're not going to get this again. We just aren't. You know, I mean, what was that? 92. These boys came through. The three of them. There's a lot of good players in that era coming through. Your Joe Perry's and tons of guys, Dominic Dales and all these guys. But there's just that. There's that difference. You know, it's that. It's the Brazil thing, they're all brilliant, amazing players, but there's just...
You love this Brazil, Alan.
I know, I don't know.
I tell you what, on the topic of Brazil, I'm going to keep it going, right? Because if your opponent, for example, if we're playing Brazil in a footballing sense, while we're on the topic of Brazil, we're going like, oh, here we go, we're up against Brazil. So, are there opponents, even top-class ones, who you would say, I don't fancy playing him. You know, he's got a style that maybe doesn't suit me, or his safety's excellent, or his pot shotting's excellent. I'd rather play somebody else. Are there guys like that, or you would never admit it?
Well, no, I would openly admit it. You've got two guys nowadays, two present day, just Goliaths of the game, Judd and Mark Selby. Mm-hmm. Now I've played them in 4 world finals, two apiece. And they're just incredible. I mean, I played Judd in 2019 in the final, and the good thing was I didn't have to buy a ticket for that final. No, I was actually sitting there. No. He beat me 18-9, and it was just mesmerising, the snooker that he produced. And then I've also played Mark Selby, where he's just so tough.
But the difference is with guys like John, they might not want to play them because you look at them, wait a minute,
Alan, just stop the presses. I think he's missed for the first time tonight.
I know, stop.
He was on for another 100 there, wasn't he?
The clocks, I mean, that, yeah. But it's pretty much done it. But just on that, the difference with guys like John, I hate being lavish in praise, but why not? But the difference with guys like John, they can take a step back and figure out a way. Mm-hmm. Right, I don't want to play it, but what I'm going to have to do is this, that, and that.
Do something
and they'll stick to a game plan. John doesn't have to reveal what these games, but that they instinctively know the way to approach it. It doesn't mean you're always going to win, but he'll get his share.
I think the fascinating thing, and I'm not trying to retire anybody by any stretch of the imagination, but the hunger's obviously still there. You're still hugely successful. Do you even think about the day that you're not going to do it? I mean, I know Ronnie gets asked about it, Mark Williams gets asked about it, but we still come to a tournament like this, and you're among the players even now that people think can win at the Crucible. So do you think about that, or are you just enjoying it to the point that you think, well, I'm just going to carry on?
No, I'm coming here thinking I've got a live chance. Yeah, I think so. But going back to those two guys have been winning events in the last maybe 4 or 5 years, and I wasn't. I was getting to finals and I was falling down at the final, the final hurdle a few times. But it was probably the reason they were still winning events. I'm thinking, well, if they're still winning, I can try and still win events. So they're sort of pushing you on mentally as well, and that's what's kept me going, really, in a way, because it could have been quite easy for me to maybe say, I'm not getting in the club. I'm not. Yeah. I don't fancy it. I'm not. But I'm like that. No, I'll go in. It might only be for a couple of hours, but no, I'm going to go in because I want to work on something, and I think you've got to have that inner
what is it
to do it.
What is it, lads? What is it goes, generally speaking, right? I mean, I woke up, generally, it's like that. One morning, I felt I couldn't run. It was like that, legs had gone. I thought, that's it, it's all over. Legs had totally gone.
And was that not strictly overnight, but
really,
it almost...
It nearly was.
Almost,
I promise you, it was just about overnight. I woke up and I thought, legs have gone, that's it. Well, you guys, is it the potting? Is it the eyesight? I mean, because generally speaking, I'm guessing you can go on as long. I mean, it's not so much a fitness thing, it's a talent thing and a mental thing. So you're not running around the table. But is it, and it's a legitimate question, is it your eyesight sometimes? Is it the potting ability? You know, I remember one time as well, John, I promise you, didn't it come on, like the ball came across and I went in like that. And I've never done like that.
Okay.
And I've never done that in my life.
You shirked the challenge.
I've never done that before in my life. You know, and I thought, that's not right, that.
Aye. I was feeling it a little bit. Now, maybe the nerves getting over the line in the last maybe 3 or 4 years, and I was thinking, I don't think I can consistently go over this winning line again. Not just to win events, but just to win matches. And it's tough. Yeah, it's tough to do, but as you say, you've just got to keep going. And I think we're lucky, as I'm approaching, got to be 50 next month, that you can still play a certain level now, even when you hit your 50s.
Alistair, who was your gaffer at Rugby Park when that happened?
That was Bobby Williamson.
Right. Question, did you go in after the match and say, listen, gaffer, and be honest with him?
Yeah, 100%. Right. I knew.
Because I suppose you've got
I knew. And you know something? Best it was, he knew.
Oh, okay.
Right? He knew as well.
Right.
And there was just a wee discussion. It wasn't even a discussion. We just kind of looked at each other and I went, I think that's it.
Because Roy Keane was one of them, wasn't he? I think I suppose it comes to everybody.
That's right. Well, Roy came up to Celtic for a couple of years as well, and speak to him about it. He just says, you just know. You just know. And there's a boy, funnily enough, the great rugby player, England boy, Ben Youngs, I think he's got most caps. He's retired today, and I watched an interview on the television this morning coming up in the wrong train, and he was saying he just knew. He just knew himself at that moment in time. Right. That's it.
Well, what about you, Alan? Did you? Was there a point in your career, I know, that you knew that?
Kind of different for me, because I'm not on that level, right? So for me, it was, I was doing a bit of broadcasting and this kind of thing, and so it was an easy decision for me. I wasn't winning tournaments anyway, so it was an easier decision for me to make. You know, I would love to have known what it was like to win tons and tons of tournaments and then have a decision. Mark Williams actually was another. I mean, you're going back at least 10 years. He was down to about number 39 in the rankings at one time. I actually played him in Judgment Day to get here. I mean, that's how high. And he was about, nearly 40 in the world, and he was looking like fault. And then all of a sudden he found, I don't know what he found, but the hunger, the desire. He always had the talent, but to get back in amongst it.
Just back to the game we're watching here, Zhou Yuelong's at least putting something together here, showing real spirit. 9-3 down, but he's in amongst the balls. He's got to take these opportunities now, though, John. I mean, there's no margin for error anymore.
Not at all. But he's a fabulous player, and he's got an unbelievable technique. That it's just so tough for these young boys coming through now, because I'll be brutally honest, but when I came through in '92 when I turned professional, I was lucky in a way, because at the end of the day, see the older generation, the guys like Cliff who just left there, right? They probably weren't as good as the likes of me and Ronnie and Mark. Great players, but it was quite easy to knock these guys out. And
what was the difference, John?
I don't think they had the desire to fight the young ones coming through. That's basically it. I don't think they could see us coming through, and they were thinking, you know what, these guys are maybe just too good.
Yeah.
So we'll just sort of roll over Willie Thorne, Dennis Taylor, Terry Griffiths.
Yeah.
Do you know what I think happened, John, actually, back then, kind of talking about early 90s, mid-90s, maybe, basically throughout the 90s? No, what changed to me, anyway, cue actions. They got longer. See, if you watch old players like Ray Reardon, John Spencer's, the champions of the... It was... they hit the ball like kind of back short and back... They didn't come back far and hit the ball. And then these guys come in, running it, and the back swings like that, and that, then you're able to have a better shot range and all that, and then through that you're able to do things with the cue ball and make tons and tons. I don't know when the transition happened exactly, but it became a thing when that crop of youngsters came through, and then you thought, right, okay, this is a different game they're playing.
Do you think you'd be a short backswing or a long backswing?
I'd be long. No doubt.
Definitely long.
I'd be all over it. I'd be long.
Yeah.
Definitely long. You look as though you're doubting me.
No, I'm just fascinated. I'm learning a lot about you this evening. In fact, I've learned a lot about you all day.
You haven't told the boys. I mean, you and I both had a go at Dennis's Black.
We did.
And when we were Ronnie and...
the cutback.
Aye. Ronnie...
the winning Black.
Dennis, you won in Black.
Okay.
We had no chance of getting the first one, but we thought we might get the
Did you get the Dennis one?
Well, let me tell you this, John. Would it surprise you at all to know that Ali...
Flicked it.
No.
I've watched her off-field with ages over the years.
He's killed me.
Ali made sure he went first because he knew that if he got it, the pocket would look that big for me. So that's what Ali did. The team player that Ali was on the day, but we both got it. The worrying thing was we used Jimmy's cue.
Yeah.
And Jimmy was off to try and qualify for this tournament, and we were using his cue. And I'm thinking, don't miss it and look the tip off.
I couldn't believe how light his cue was.
No.
I think that's where I've been going wrong.
I think so.
Heavy cue.
So. What about your game tomorrow night? We've got to speak about that before this frame wraps. We've only got a matter of seconds when the frame's over and everybody's out and everybody's in.
Zhou Yuelong. I've played him the last two tournaments at the Players' Championship. Had a really tough game. I just managed to come back and beat him 6-5 there. And then I played him a couple of weeks ago in Manchester in the Tour Championship. I think I managed to win 10-4. So I've got good memories, obviously, the last two matches, but it still doesn't count for anything really. You've got to get in and play well now. And
what about yourselves, lad? Is this your first time at the Crucible?
Right, brilliant. Because I was going to ask you that.
Right.
It is. I've watched this place. And I've been to tournaments all over the place, Scotland. I've been to Motherwell all over the place watching the snooker. I love the snooker, as you know. First time I was at the Crucible and I walked in today. And the first thing I thought about, and I've watched snooker, and my mum says, it took me back 85, sitting in mum's house. I was 22, not a wee boy. I was 22, watched that final with Dennis and Steve Davis, walked in the Crucible today, and I thought to myself, I'm thinking to myself, wow. I can feel it. So how do you two guys?
Well, yeah.
I've been before as a fan. I've watched the final here. And you can't get tickets, can you? So you have to get the tickets the Monday after or the Tuesday after the final finishes. Otherwise, you can't get in. Yeah. So I've been fortunate enough to come and watch. But today, to go behind the scenes and see the corridor where you guys walk out and see what it's like behind the curtain.
The atmosphere in there's magic.
Oh, brilliant.
It's magic, isn't it?
The crazy thing for him, he's only seen one frame because of the train.
But it was a 1-3-1, to be fair to Ronnie. He didn't let me down now,
Yeah.
Can I just ask Ali as well that I've just seen reports that he's trying to get Brendan Rodgers to go to Tottenham Hotspur. Is there any truth in this rumour?
Jones, I'll be honest with you, mate. I'm trying to get him go anywhere. Right? I don't care if it's Tottenham Hotspur. I just want him south.
Right, okay.
Right? Is that okay? Just to clarify that, just in case you thought it was anti-Tottenham or pro-Tottenham. I want him anywhere.
I'll ask you a question as well, please. Who would you have as the next Rangers manager? Would you give it to Barry or would you?
Do you know something? I think Barry's done fine. I really do. I don't think he'll get it, mate.
Right.
I really don't. Because I think the lads, the new guys that will come in, they'll want their own man. I really do. I'd like to see Barry stay there in some capacity. I don't think he'll get the manager's job. I might be wrong. I wouldn't mind. There's all sorts of talk about Mourinho, and I wouldn't be adverse to a kind of Sean Dyche or something like that. I really wouldn't, because I just think we've got as a club, we've got a lot of work to do and a lot of catching up. It's not going to be an overnight fix, mate, what was at the moment, really.
Oh, I know that.
Because of finances, because of finances and all that stuff. And you boys are a wee bit ahead more consistent. I know we toughed you at the last game at Celtic Park, but that was a kind of one-off. I do accept you've got a bit of balanceness. You look so. And answer your question. Give us Mourinho. Mourinho shot.
What about Brazilian? Would you go for a Brazilian?
Not personally. My days of that are well gone, to be honest.
Now, that's something I would pay to see, by the way.
Absolutely.
John did say that he'd do the entire night if he could talk about Celtic, but we had to restrict him to 2 frames.
I actually think I've got away with one tonight, I tell you. I don't mean this.
I think so. I mean, he's shown real battling spirit and fighting qualities, Alan, in this frame, hasn't he? Because as John was saying, you kind of know that you're out, but he's got to try and find it within himself to at least give his best, and he's done that in this frame.
No, that's what you've got to do, Dig. And I've always been of the opinion in these long matches, although you're, what is he, 9-3 behind at the moment, the only way you guarantee getting beat is if you chuck it mentally. You've got to dig in, even although you're about less than a 1% chance of winning, because just maybe once in your career it'll happen, you'll come back. You just got to keep digging in and make the other guy earn it. You know?
Am I right in saying the winner of this plays Sean Murphy?
Oh, aye, blockbuster.
Oh,
he's just absolutely nailed that. What a shot that is.
Yeah.
What a shot.
I mean, what a tie that would be.
That would be the tie of the second round. you would
possibly
say.
We've got the draw just over there. We kind of, as we go this week, crossing them out there. But there's a lot of I mean,
but those 2 guys, for that's a standout tie.
It will be.
Judd and Sean. Mm-hmm. Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
Look at Russell. He was impressive today, the way he came back. 5-1 down. I don't know how much John knew. He was 5-1 down. Look at he got out 5-4.
Right.
Does this tournament get more open every year? Do more people come with a genuine ability to win it every year? Because I mean, in days gone by, you could look at it, you could put a line through a lot of players, but now you look at it and it seems so strong from top to bottom. Is that fair?
Yeah, it is. But then it always seems to be one of the usual suspects that wins it.
Is that the mental gut side of things?
Well, you could say the usual suspects. The last two seasons, you would probably have to say it's went against that. We look at, and then we know Kyron's a great player, but he's became
what a shot in the black there.
He's became a better player this year as he has been the world champion. I think he's won about four tournaments. Kyron's won, isn't he, this year, Kyron?
Aye.
Did I not read somewhere there's a kind of voodoo sign on first-time winners?
Crucible curse.
No first-time winner has ever came back and defended it.
Wow.
You know, Ken Doherty got to the final against John in '98, and Joe Johnson, of course, when he won it in '86, got to the final against the Nugget the following year. You know,
has he left it here, Alan? For
Snooker, is it?
No, I think he can get it.
No, he can get it. Can he?
Just needs a yellow.
Can get that.
Just needs a yellow.
Looking like he's going to keep the dream alive here, Zhou Yuelong. Yeah, good shot.
Well, he's took it to the next session, and then listen, you don't know what can happen. That he could come out and play well for 2 or 3 frames, but to win 6 frames against Judd in the form Judd's in, it's going to be incredibly difficult. Yeah,
done. Yeah, fair play to him. Fair play. That's what you got to do. Dig in. You just never know. You just don't know.
I'll take the opportunity, because we've missed the opportunity a couple of times, to thank Alan and John for coming in, because we've been rapidly into the break because it's all going crazy.
Brilliant to see you, lads.
What we do get the chance to do now, of course, is have 15 or 20 minutes just to regather our thoughts. Radzi and the team are going to take over, and then when we come back after the mid-session interval, based on the fact we're going to get that far, we think, we'll have Ronnie O'Sullivan with us, so that's going to be fantastic.
Excellent.
Yeah, so Ronnie's going to be in.
Tremendous. Can't thank the boys enough. Great to see you, John. Thanks.
Brilliant. Pleasure to have
Well, they're not quite going yet, look, because they're going to play on for Snookers. So we don't go any. If there's any more Celtic stuff you want to get off your chest in the next 90 seconds, John, feel free to do
it. Listen. I can't do it, Tally. I can't.
You've done it all night. But in all seriousness, did you still manage to get a few of the games?
I've not been. I've still got my season tickets here, but I've only got 2. And my boy, my daughter, they take the tickets when I'm away.
That was the time. Remember, I met you in the family at the airport last time.
Yeah, that's what I was saying to Alan. But I was on the way down to the Masters.
That's right.
I was on the way to the Masters.
That's not a bad shot, by the way, from Judd Trump.
Well, that's why he has become the player he has, because he's missed. Oh, he's got it. his all-round game now is unbelievable, isn't it, Alan? He used to be just like a Luca Bracel in a way, like just he never really paid a lot of like to the
Judd's actual form
side.
can drop off now, and I get like everybody, but we analyse him because he's the best player in the world. But his form can drop off. But if it does, he gets down in the weeds, and he's even harder to play against in a way.
It's funny, Al, because you mentioned it, getting tips off older pros and older guys and things like that. Ronnie told us when we were sitting talking to him that his father actually's missed it. His father went to see Ray Reardon and said to Ray Reardon, any chance you could do a bit of work with my son? Which Ray Reardon was, obviously willing to do. He said it was a massive influence on him.
And then also, I think Judd as well. Judd's come out public and said that he went to the same academy that Ronnie was practising in London for a few years, and he felt as if he learned so much, just even off the way Ronnie used to practice. And I think he played a few practice sessions with him. So even guys like Judd Trump are looking for that little edge, and he got it, obviously.
And he moved back to the Bristol area after that, after going to live in London for the reason to learn off of Ronnie. And he told Ronnie personally, didn't he? He said, I'm going back home. I can't let you've taught me everything I've learned, pretty much.
Nice touch.
Just on the football, John, is that your release? Is that what you do to get away from it?
Yeah, always has been, and probably the detriment of my snooker in years gone past, to be honest. Yeah, because I used to go to the game, and it's a Scottish thing. You would go to the game on a Saturday, watch the game, a few pints, then meet up with your pals again, maybe on the Sunday, have another couple of pints, and then maybe on the Monday you'd be thinking, you know what, I don't feel like going in and practising. So, as you say, football was a big part of growing up in the west of Scotland.
Did you have MD pushing you, or was it yourself? Did you have a parent, a pal, wife, girl?
My dad used to be down with me, Ali, all the time. He was my manager, and he would all. But it's difficult when it's also your dad. It's hard for him sometimes to pull your neck in and say, "Listen, son, what are you doing?"
I get it.
He's wanting you to enjoy yourself as well, because you're just a young boy. But oh, what a shot that is!
Wow!
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Oh my goodness!
I might have spoken too soon about getting to the mid-session interval here, because he's battling away Judd like he's 9-3 down.
You never count your chickens with Judd. I mean, 2 snookers in the blue, you're thinking,
look at this.
It's done, but
that's incredible.
How good a shot's that, John?
That's a hot shot, Alan, isn't it? That is a hot shot.
Brilliant.
Wow.
I mean, that's how much a competitor. 9-3 to the good. He's probably going to win. But he wants to win 10-3.
What's he thinking? He must be thinking, give me a break, surely.
And Judd's no interested. He doesn't want to engage. It's business, isn't it? That's what he's all about. Aye, big shot. John, what would be the typical miss if you miss this? The left side of it, or the right side of the blue off one cush?
Because you can only get it one cushion here, Alan, couldn't he?
What would be the typical miss to the left of it or the right of it as we see it? That blue. Given the slide or the squareness of what the tables are playing.
I think you've got to try and go left, haven't you?
Do you think he would miss it left typically?
Oh no, I don't even think you can get left here.
Is it touching
I think
ball?
It's actually touching ball. So
jeez.
Aye.
Wow.
So it's.
Oh, that's just horrible, isn't it?
How difficult are the shots with this stuff here? I mean, look how far away he is from the cue ball.
I know Ali likes his fishing, but now how do you deal with that, Ali?
I tell you, that's as big a rod as I've used for the salmon in a long time. So what is it now? A 3 cushion, or you going to go straight up? It's just a 1 cushion off the back.
It's either 1 or 2, but you've got to see where his cue is right there.
Yeah.
If you miss it on the way up, you've got to miss it on the cue side of it there.
Yes.
And the D side of it.
But he can also put a touch aside on this here as well. Oh, good shot.
And off.
Good shot.
Oh, good shot. That's brilliant.
Yeah, great shot.
Yeah.
Great shot. Yeah, that was odds against, I thought, that shot. But no, I think the crowd want to see this go into a second session, don't they?
I've not got a horse in the race, but I want him to win this frame. I don't want him to lose this frame. Do you, Ali?
No.
Well,
he's fought so hard.
There you are now.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. No, fair
then you
play.
can go and get your cup of tea. That's.
You two are delighted. You're going to get a break for him and I now.
So what's the plan tonight then? Do you do it early night, meal early night, bit of practice in the morning?
Night. No, I've had a bit of practice today.
Right.
Got up early tomorrow, come over, get a bit of practice. then get a couple of hours sleep in the afternoon, and then get ready for night. Yeah.
Brilliant. We wish you well.
Thanks.
It's been great having you in.
John.
Thank
Good
you.
luck, mate.
Very much.
I've just enjoyed seeing him on the back foot, which is not an easy thing to do, but you've managed to between
on the ropes there, wasn't I?
you need the mid-session
Shoot
interval.
a couple of standing counts, didn't I?
No, good to see you.
Brilliant.
Great, mate.
Yeah,
Brilliant. And the
Thank
best
you,
of luck,
John. Thank you, Alan. Brilliant.
Thanks, Al.
Fantastic.
Thanks,
So we will go
Magic,
into the next session after this mid-session interval coming up. So Radzi and the team are going to take over. Ali and I are going to take a break. We will be back, though, when this match resumes, and we'll have the Rocket, Ronnie O'Sullivan, in the studio with us. We'll see you in a bit.
Yesterday's evening session ended 6 frames to 3 to the world number one, Judd Trump. Alan McManus really articulately illustrated the potential question marks around Judd, and essentially he answered all of those, or did he? We'll find out very, very shortly. Zhou Yuelong crucially getting a final frame to keep the match live, which, by the way, also means that we will see the return of Ali McCoist and Darren Fletcher after the mid-session interval. Just a reminder for all the sport that's on offer on Eurosport, we have got cycling. We've also got speed coming, by the way, but on TNT, it's all about the NBA. It's about the cycling, and also a quick reminder about the snooker, which will continue for the next 12 days, if my math serves me correctly. And Luca Brissell, that kicks off again tomorrow. 4 frames to 5. What a comeback from Luca Brissell. But lads, just taking breath and looking at Judd Trump because, I mean, superb, out the trap straight away, Jim.
He looked awesome. Last night when he started off, me and Alan were so impressed with his long game. And, you know, when a Judd Trump is potting these long balls and getting in and scoring. And then towards the end of that match last night, as Alan explained on his touch screen, he lost to White a couple of times, maybe he got a bounce, and then it went a little bit scrappy. But as Judd Trump, such a winner, such the ultimate professional, he's gone away, reset, and come out tonight like a world beater, you know, and he has to play like... OK, the match is not completely done yet, but I think he has to play like that if he's going to beat Shaun Murphy. So it's a reminder to everyone, you know, at the start of the match and towards the end of the match, he's played brilliant stuff.
Al, that frame 10, the first frame of this session, was fascinating, watching how Judd broke that build. It wasn't the conventional way.
No, his cue ball does some mileage. I mean, but this first pot is probably actually the best pot of the session, and it was the one that laid the foundations for what we're about to see here. I mean, his cue ball, worth seeing again. I mean, his cue ball does go round the houses, in and out of ball, call that thing. There's another one. But it doesn't faze him at all. He's got the talent. As I keep saying, he's the bulldozer. All that thing. He's also incredibly resilient as Judd. You know,
62.
To come out last night and play like he did at the start and then drop off in terms of his form, to pick it back up again today is the reason why he's the world #1. I mean, even when he won the title here back in the day in 2019, he won 10-9 against Tipchaya in the first round, and he had to fight and get down with it, and he did it today. Just the perfect start, and just to sort of, you know, not put Zhou Yuelong in his place, but brilliant start. This way, Jim.
Yeah, fabulous cue. And, he would have known that, like, Zhou Yuelong won that last frame last night with a big break to keep himself in the match. He knew how important the first frame was tonight and got off to a great start. Here, he's always trying to open up the balls. He's always trying to win the frame in one visit. And he's got all the touch and feel out, isn't he? He's got complete control of the cue ball.
Yeah, it's a brilliant blend that he has with his game, whether it's at distance or whether it's in close. He doesn't mind having to work the cue ball like that and, you know, play shots that other players don't particularly enjoy. There's the second turn of the night and it goes, and that put him just 4 shy of the century of hundreds, if you like. And then Zhou Yuelong gets a half chance and, you know, it goes astray. He simply obviously can't afford any mistakes at this stage, Jim.
No, it's right. You know, for me, you know, Judd, like, as I said before, reset. You know, here's another shot, and, you know, always trying to open up the balls, Rads. You know, always trying to get the frame one, and it's so dangerous for your opponent because, you know, every mistake you make, you're thinking, is it all over? And you know, now after. OK, as I keep saying, sorry for Yulong fans, the match is not won yet, but it's highly unlikely that he will come back from there. But for Judd Trump fans, you'd be delighted with the way he's playing.
And just a word out, on 97 centuries for Judd Trump, it isn't just pride on the line if he hits 100, there's a financial incentive as well.
Yeah, it's £100,000. It was set out at the start of this season that the first player to do it will pick up that bonus, and Judd's the only one that might be able to do it. Within reason, and it looks like, you know, if he wins tonight, then he's odds on he is going to pick that one up as well as plenty other this season.
Jimmy, just a word on Yulong's tenacity.
Yeah.
The temperament required now, it's a tall order. Just to even get the next 3 frames would be impressive.
Trump's too good. You know, he's too much of a winner. You know, like, he's not going to panic. You know, he's been in this situation. They know, these top players know how to close out the match. So if Yulong does maybe win 2 or 3 frames, then Judd Trump might change tactics and go, you know, make sure that he just picks off as many points and keeps the game tight. But I just can't see it happening because as soon as Trump gets in, he wants to win the frame and the match in one visit.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable winning player, that is for sure. And just a reminder, in terms of the tail of the tape, the head-to-head, doesn't necessarily make for particularly pretty reading from Yulong's perspective. He's a brilliant talent. And actually, a few years ago at the Championship League, he managed to hit back-to-back tons. He hit 3 back-to-back tons. That was, I think, in 2021 during lockdown. The pot success would certainly need to increase for him to do that. Judd Trump, 92%, doesn't get much better than that. And the highest rate, obviously, we have seen a ton, as we mentioned, 3 of them from Judd Trump. And as for us back in the studio, we have Prince William's best friend. We have the pride of Celtic, no less. I'm obviously joking when I say that. Yes. Alan, because how's the experience been for yourself, mate?
Oh, I've loved it. I loved it. Just in amongst the boys. I've loved my snooker since I was that size. I've watched it, Crucible. I was just saying to the lads, I can remember sitting in my mum's living room floor watching it, and just to be here behind the scenes, see the lads walk out, see the table. You know, you walk in somewhere, lads, and you can just feel it. You can sense it. You know, whether it's Wimbledon or Lords or whatever it is, Hampden, you can just smell it. Yeah. As soon as I walked into this place, I could feel it, Jimmy Allen. It was magic.
Well, my Dundonian granny is the reason that I love snooker. And to hear Bells Hill, Wishaw and Glasgow in a 4-shot doesn't happen every day.
Never happens. Never happens. That's that central belt, actually. Your wee granny will be a wee bit upset because she's a bit further north, you see.
Exactly right. But, Jimmy, there is something special. We spoke about it on day one. The Crucible, you feel it, you sense it.
It just, you know, Ali being a top sportsman, you know, certain venues, he's watched it on telly, and then to come in and watch it at the match, feel the atmosphere straight away. So much drama happens here. You know, we've already had it in the first round with Chris Wakelin and Robertson, because it's the World Championship. Everybody wants to win it, so they're all giving it maximum. And this is why we hope it stays at the Crucible. And the drama always comes about at the Crucible. So hopefully it always stays here.
And this is why sport's such a brilliant thing. You know, Alistair's obviously well used to 100,000 people, you know, screaming, bawling, shouting, and then you go to the opposite here. But it's kind of the same, even though
I know, exactly. Well, that's what I was going to ask you two guys. See this place? I'm guessing that affects different people in different ways.
Yeah, sure. You know, like, obviously, I've had a few nightmares here, you know, like being well in front, I've been close, but I've also had some fantastic matches here. And sometimes you just get in the zone and you're there from start to finish. Sometimes you're not in the zone and you can hear someone behind you because it's so close, it's so intimate, the Crucible. You can hear someone saying, no, I want a strawberry sweet, not like a raspberry sweet. And like, wait a minute, I'm not focused here. It's that sort of place, you know, it's incredible. And when the curtain goes up, you know, there's 2 tables up until the semi-finals, but sometimes the match finishes early and the curtain goes up and you've got the whole Crucible to yourself, you and your opponent. You know, that's what these new players are experiencing. There's nothing like this place.
And there's nothing like listening to these guys, by the way, essentially in podcast format, live on TNT Sports 1. You can watch that watch-along once again after the mid-session interval continues. But also a quick reminder, if you want to listen to an amazing interview, listen to Alan's series, or Ali's series rather, which is available on YouTube on TNT Sports. But as for us, we'll be back after this. Welcome back to the Crucible, where currently there's action taking place on table number 2. Mark Selby trails Ben Woollaston, his good friend, by 2 frames to 1. But a reminder of all the stuff taking place tomorrow. Luca Brissell and Ryan Day get back onto the bays. Luca Brissell, we've seen 2 phases to him. Luca that struggles, and then Luca Snooker as well. How will that one conclude? Well, the first round 2 match will also begin tomorrow morning. Chris Wakelin and Mark Allen, very much a battle of the match players. And then tomorrow, Mark Selby and Ben Woollaston will play to a conclusion. Ben Woollaston's son's here, 7 years old. He's watching him, actually wants Mark Selby to win because he's got a round robin going on at his snooker club. 90 quid he gets if Mark Selby goes and lifts the silver lady. And John Higgins, we spoke about him, we heard from him on TNT Sports 1. He was all part of the Watchalong, and that's with Darren. That is with Ali McCoist, and we have a brand new guest that you're about to reveal exactly who that is in just a few moments' time. So without further ado, back by popular demand, live on YouTube, live on TNT Sports 1, we can hand to Ali, Darren, and a very special man.
Radzi, thank you. What a wonderful reintroduction from Radzi. Yeah, we've got the 7-time world champion with us.
Yeah, I felt he went heavy on you and I.
Did you?
Considering Ronnie was here in the introduction. I didn't mind it though.
No, I'm not breaking any confidences here. When we saw Ronnie after he won this afternoon and said, "Look, will you come and join us tonight?" Ronnie said, "I'm in a decent mood, so yeah."
Yes. Yeah, fair play.
So it's great that you're here.
Last night I wasn't coming in. So it was a better day.
What was different this afternoon? Because you were flying today.
Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like my rhythm was there. The shots were coming a bit easier. It's been a bit of a struggle the last few years. So, but I've been told that that's snooker and that's sport. And if you sign up to play sport, you've got to accept the good with the bad. I find that really difficult to get my head around because I just want it to be good all the time, you know.
Do you know immediately? Do you know within 2 or 3 minutes, your first time at the table, do you know, I feel good, this is going to be my session?
Yeah, usually, when you're in playing and that, you get a good idea pretty early on how it's going to go. Can sort of have a little wobble in between, but kind of get the stabilisers on and get going again. But at the moment, I ain't got a clue what's going to happen from one shot to the next, to be honest with you.
Gee, it's amazing that.
I really ain't.
I find that absolutely remarkable. You saying
playing
that
brow snooker.
I'm watching you there and I'm thinking, that is a man in absolute total control.
Yeah, but it's a bit like if you put your kit on and went and played football, you could say, that fella used to be a pro. Do you know what I mean? You never kind of lose that sort of stuff, but inside you think, this is a nightmare. It could go really.
So what is it then? Because I watched you today when you got around the black spot, you looked as good as ever. There's been a lot of talk about this cue.
Oh, yeah, the cue, the new cue.
New cue.
Yeah, the new cue.
When we saw you about a month ago, you weren't sure whether you were going to be here, and you made your mind up. So when you analyse yourself, and you say, it doesn't feel right. So what is it? Do you know what it is, or is that something you've got to work out?
I think I'm just in a rebuilding process. I'm probably on the last leg of my career, and I've had to probably rebuild 3 or 4 times in your career. You have a point where you kind of go, I've got to change things. New players coming through, you look at players like Judd Trump and all these young Chinese players, they play a different game. So if you want to compete with them, you sometimes have to rebuild, and that's what I've had to do. So I think I've got one more rebuild in me just to try and compete with these guys. I'm not saying I can win as much as they do, because probably not, but I'd love to have a good 4 or 5 years, just enjoy it, compete and have a good finish to my career, really.
That's the very least you deserve for yourself. You said something today, Fletcher and I were down and we're privy to listening after your victory to the press conference. And in the interview, he said something that was fascinating, it was brilliant. And you're talking about Rory McIlroy.
Yeah.
Great. Just to explain, what you roughly said was, it's amazing, your sport, or sport in general, when you're on it, you feel as though you'll never be off it, but when you're off it, you feel as though you can never get back on it. Where are you just now?
I feel like I'm never going to get back to playing well, because I've had such a long period of not playing well, just grinding it out. So you kind of think, you're looking for a little bit of hope sometimes. But today was the first time, I think, in a long time I thought, I actually felt like the balls were going half where I wanted them to go. I'm still not getting carried away. But I'm kind of optimistic, if that makes sense.
Be honest, were you a bit nervous yesterday? Based on the fact you'd not played tournament snooker for an extended period when you first walked out yesterday, and did you need that first frame?
To be honest with you, it's the least nervous I think I've ever been, because
really?
I had no expectations. I struggled. The reason why I stopped playing was because I wasn't playing well in practice, I wasn't playing well in matches, and I just got me down so much. So coming here, I had no expectations at all. I was just, if I can win a few frames, great. Just about getting back on the bike, breaking that cycle of not playing tournaments. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't really have any expectations, but when I took a year out in 2012 and I hadn't played all year, on a practice table I was flying. So even though I hadn't played any matches, I come in thinking, you know what, I still fancy the job. And each match I got better and better, and the rustiness come off. So, yeah, it's a very different to it was.
What made you come here then, Ronnie? Don't get me wrong. I want to tell you, when you and I sat down 3 weeks ago, I said that they'll be happier than me to see you at the World Championship. And thankfully you've decided to make that decision. But what was it in your head said, I'm going there, I'm going for it?
I'd taken about 3 months off and I was just getting a little bit bored, and I just came back from holiday and I just thought, I'm just going to go and hit some balls. And I started hitting some balls, and this guy said, look, he said, I'll try and help you get back to where you used to be, which is where I need to be, really. So it's just been sort of like a process of just trying different things, just trying to get away from what I was doing, which I felt was the problem, and just trying to just enjoy playing, no pressure, no tournaments, just enjoy the game again. And then I played Barry Hawkins the other day, and I was really down on myself, and he went, look, it's not as bad as you think. I was like, really? So I kind of held on to that. And then Steve Peters said, look, I'll be there with you for the first match. So I knew that if I was having a wobble up, he could, keep me together. So I thought, come on, we'll just give it a go.
See, to get yourself back to where you think, and we all know you can reach again.
Yeah.
How much of that's mental? How much is that ability? Your own belief in your own potting skills? Because, look, as I say, looking at that afternoon session today, from layman's terms, you know the game far better than we'll ever know it.
Yeah.
But that looked to us like a guy that knows what he's about at the top of his game. But it's really interesting to hear you say you firmly believe you've got a lot more in a locker. So much of it's mental and much of it's just natural ability coming back.
Definitely think a lot of it's mental, because I think I'm a bit of an overthinker. I try and tinker too much and end up driving myself crazy, and then you just, you've done your own head in. So I think it's a two-way thing. I've got to know when to tinker and know when to say no more. But yeah, so, and listen, I don't expect, I'm not sitting there thinking I want to get back to what I was in 2012, 2008, 2013, all them years, because I'm a lot older. I just want to enjoy the game. I just want to hit the ball and kind of go, oh, that felt good. If I make quarter semis, win a tournament, great. But yeah, at this stage of my career, I just want to enjoy it,
There could be an argument you might be an even more dangerous opponent going out with that carefree attitude.
Possibly. There's no pressure on me, really, But yeah, I just like to say, if I can enjoy it, just winning the match here, to be honest with you, was great,
So you won 10-4. Judd Trump 9-4 up at the moment.
Yeah.
And he's in amongst the balls again. Is he? I always find it a strange question to ask another player in the same tournament.
Yeah.
But he's the bookies' favourite.
Yeah.
Won the UK Championship.
Yeah.
Is he the one that everybody's got to beat this week, even though he's only got one world title? Despite
million percent. Yeah, for me, his only danger was Kyron Wilson. Because Kyron matches up well with Judd. He kind of enjoys that match play. Snooker's a bit like golf match play. You're not playing the course, you're playing the opponent sometimes. And I think Kyron is probably one of the only top players that relishes playing Judd, and I think that makes it a really good game. There's still loads of other good players in this tournament that can give Judd a game, but he's definitely the favourite by right.
Well, you clearly wouldn't say it, but before you came in and did your interview post-match, Ali was in, and effectively that's exactly what he said about you. He said, with the greatest respect, one person in the tournament that nobody wanted to play was yourself.
Who said that?
Carter.
Ali Carter. Really,
okay. That's exactly what he said.
Yeah, it's very hard when you're yourself and you're not looking in on what's going on. I can look in and see what's going on with everybody else, but when it comes to you just don't quite see it. Everybody.
Do you think you're going to be the last person to realise that you could win this tournament?
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody else is saying, hang on a minute.
Yeah, listen, it's okay playing one good session. You've got to play... Yeah. Maybe, if there's 15 sessions in the tournament, I don't know how many there is, you've got to play at least 10 good ones. You can have 5 mediocre ones. So, that's been my battle, is just finding some good consistency. So if I can find a bit of that, then it'll give me a little bit more belief.
Are you happy? Because I always get the impression that you function better when you're happy, and you've been sat around the corner with us during the mid-session interval, nattering away about life in general, and you seem really happy in yourself. You seem really relaxed. You seem like you're enjoying being here, and really good. Look, you're grinning now.
No. Yeah, I love being. I love being here. I really enjoy being out there playing, and I love doing a bit of TV work with the lads here at TNT. It just breaks it up a bit. But last night I felt a bit edgy. While I was playing, it was fine. I went home and then I thought, the anxiety was kicking. I thought, it was just. And then, but today's been a lot better, and I just feel a lot calmer. I think, So it's a killer of a sport.
How do you? Well, I know
it's a horrible sport.
It's a question you need to ask. How do you relax within a tournament itself?
Lots of pills.
Can you
lots of anxiety pills.
Can you switch off until you come walking through those doors again, or is it there all the time?
I can't switch off. No, it's with you all the time. You know what I mean? Even when I'm at home practicing, if I've had a dodgy day, I go home and I'm sitting there and I'm like quiet, moody. Not moody, but just sort of like in my own head, and Mrs. looking at me thinking like, come on, like, liven up. Do you know what I mean? But that's just I say snooker is like chess with balls. It's one of them sports you just sort of like, you see them chess players, they're always like there's a lot going on in their head. But you footballers, you just have a laugh and a joke. I envy it. I just think, I wish I could have been a footballer. You look like you're having a great time.
We've got a team thing. Win, lose or draw, you've got your mates next to you, mate.
Your ass in the middle of the night, helping himself to the fridge, and you're like, we don't get none of that going on in snooker.
I can imagine Ronnie's face if Judd Trump was in the fridge one night helping himself to a cheese sandwich like as it wasn't yours.
I wouldn't recommend it, I can tell you. I know. Can be a frightening experience, that, mate, if it's not planned.
Are you looking forward to the next match?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I can't wait. Going to practice tomorrow, come back to the Crucible Friday, get on the tables, spend a bit of time here with the TNT, doing a bit of punditry tomorrow. Just enjoy. Just
chill.
Yeah.
I went up as well. Have you up and see the practice tables? Are you up?
No.
I went up and had a wee look. Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
That's a great. I've had the full tour, Ronnie. I've loved it. Loved it.
When did you do that?
Well, just before we came on.
Did you?
I get the gold tour. I think you only get the bronze tour. To be fair, I guess.
Tell you. No, we've had a great day in general, though. I mean, everybody's looked after us. There we are watching your match earlier today. Is that watching the match? There we are. We're marvelling at your shots, look.
Yeah.
Ali had only just... Ali made it for one frame, which was your 1-3-1.
That's all I needed, mate. That's all I needed.
Yeah. I did message him at 8-4 to say hurry up, because we knew it wasn't lasting long at that point. Yeah.
No, it's a good view from up there, isn't it?
But just to see the whole thing, just to see it, Ronnie, we've been watching it here for, it seems like 100 years, just to go behind the scenes, just to meet everybody, the picture take with the trophy. We were like a couple of wee boys today, mate.
We were. We've had the time of our life.
That's good.
Absolutely brilliant. And everybody's looked after us, haven't
you better believe they?
So well. Yeah. Everybody associated with the tournament's been so kind.
No, everyone's been so excited you're coming down. Maria's been saying, we've got Ali coming and Darren Fletcher
coming. We've loved it. We've absolutely loved it. It's been great.
Everyone's been buzzing.
It's been great.
What about, we spoke earlier, because we've had different people in during the course of the night. He's on course for 100 centuries in this season. How impressive, in your opinion, is that?
Yeah, phenomenal, really. He's done it once before, and Neil's done it once before, but... Yeah, he's just been on fire this season, especially at the start of the season. But he just scores so heavily. But yeah, I mean, phenomenal play, really is.
Answer me this, because we can ask all kinds of questions that other people might ask you about. So when you get the draw, you get Ali Carter. Did you? Or do you two get on a bit? But you have that nice handshake before the game.
No, me and Ali are fine. Just, you have I was probably going through a bad time myself at the time. He was probably going through a bit of a bad time, and you just sort of say things that you think.
We've all been there, mate.
And when you say it, you think like, why did I say that? Do you know what I mean? You just think, really? You know what I mean? So, it's just heat of the moment stuff. But no, me and Ali, I practiced with Ali when he was a kid, like 13, 14. I think this kid's going to be special, So I spent a lot of time playing him, picking balls out for him, and he's a good lad.
I love the story. Your dad, we were talking about it earlier on, we were talking to John Higgins and Alan McManus about your dad with Ray Reardon.
I
loved that. Just give us that one again, mate. Loved it.
Yeah, I was literally just playing here, and I was playing all right, but I just wasn't getting the results. And my dad phoned up a fella called Les Dodd, and he said, who can help my son? Who can you think of? And he went, he said, I think Ray Reardon would be great for your son. He went, really? He went, yeah, you got his number? He went, yeah, I'll get it for you. So anyway, so I ring you back in 10 minutes. So he gave him Ray's number, and my dad phoned up. We went, Ray, you all right, Ray? It's Ronnie's dad here. He went, oh, hey, how you doing, mate? He said, can you help my son? And he went, oh, of course I can help your son. He went, right. He said, it's all right, Ronnie rings you and, have a chat. And I went, yeah. He went, oh, of course. So Dad went, it's done. Got his number. Give him a ring. He went, he's waiting for you to call him. So I phoned up Ray. Went, all right, Ray, how you doing? And just chatting away and had a little chat. And then he went, go and do what you got to do tonight. He said, get through. He said, I'll see you tomorrow. I was like, all right, cool, and that was it. That
Brilliant.
Was, yeah, he's good like that, my dad.
It's a great story,
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, you'd do anything for your kids, wouldn't you?
Just a willingness to help a younger player coming through is brilliant.
Stepping in, Ali, Reanne Evans. So we had 7 World Championships. We've swelled that now to 18. Because Reanne's got 11.
She's got 12, hasn't it?
12?
12, yeah.
Oh, I was just told 11.
They're setting you up there, aren't they?
They're absolutely setting me up there. Absolutely. I mean, I need all the help I can get. I mean, that's the last thing I need.
That's nearly as bad as me missing my train. So firstly, I've got to ask you how you're enjoying it. It's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what the Crucible's there for, all the drama. Just love snooker.
I'm just saying it. I was saying to Ronnie, I mean, I've watched this snooker at this place for, I don't know, a long, long time. Just walking through, you know, that way you can feel it. You know, that way it's like I was saying to the lads there, it's like Lords, it's like Wimbledon. You can just smell it. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, say the fans make it out on the street, don't they? The buzz is all around, especially when Ronnie said that he was playing as well. It gives it an extra buzz as well. So, yeah, it's just where snooker's made and it should stay here.
I tell you what I didn't know. It's got to, I'm with you now, it's got to. I tell you what I wasn't aware when I was coming in. That big screen out there.
Yeah.
They're sitting in deck chairs. There was hundreds sitting in deck chairs watching out. Brilliant.
Yeah, it's good, yeah.
Let me tell you something that you didn't know until today. So we've got the Crucible Theatre here, and then it's the Lyceum Theatre next door. The summer of 1990.
Wait to hear us.
I put the suspended ceilings into the Lyceum Theatre.
I was 5.
Sorry?
I just cannot believe the suspended ceilings are still up there.
Well, I can tell you that there were a few that went prior to opening night, if truth be known.
I know, it's a good story, I've got to say. When was that?
The summer, the World Cup was on.
1990?
During Italia 90, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, during the summer. Yeah. It was great until it was windy and then it
wasn't
great.
You were putting ceilings up there when I was playing at the World Cup, is that what you're telling me? I think that's what he's trying to say in a nutshell.
He's just trying to set you up to bring it in, wasn't he? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Just lining them up for him. Like.
The perfect partner in so many ways. In so many ways. Judd Trump's in here.
Yeah.
Now, he only needs one more. So, he's been so good tonight.
Yeah.
I thought it told you a lot about him, Ronnie, the fact that the frame prior to the mid-session interval, he was so desperate to get the snookers and win it there.
Really?
And then. I mean,
Yeah.
And then he got Zhou into a really bad position, but he did remarkably well. He had to get out of it, didn't he? But it was a real insight, I thought, into his mindset here. The fact he was prepared to battle so hard at that stage.
Yeah, even when he won the World Championships, he would never have done that. He'd have conceded and not carried on and let's go on with the next frame. Let's try and make a century. It just shows how far he's come and what a winner machine he's become as well. But
at what point do you guys think there's an unwritten law that snookers are out of the question? I mean, I don't know. I take it you look at the balls, obviously, at the situation, you look at it and you say, no, I need 2, I need 3. Is there an unwritten law? Because I don't know, I could see you maybe getting a little bit annoyed if somebody, I might be wrong, Ronnie, but if somebody started going for snookers and they needed 2 or 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I suppose, you know, it's just some players are good at getting snookers and they can get you in like 6, 7 snookers on the trot, but some like the guys now are so good at getting out of them that you think if you need 3 or 4, then you know, maybe
about 10 snookers.
Maybe just sort of like just get on with the next frame, you know. But and I got 5 once and won a frame.
Seriously?
Yeah, in the qualifiers when I was 16. I got 5 snookers against Craig Edwards. Yeah, I got 5 snookers.
Oh, no way, man! You've just named and shamed him as well. Craig's sitting there watching the telly saying, "I hope he doesn't name me."
How many times? By the way, how many times has Craig told that story down the pub? No. He got me in 5 snookers. Yeah,
he's playing for fame.
Yeah. If you're going to get snookered 5 times by MD, you're as well been Ronnie, surely, no?
Yeah, but the balls predict if you want to carry on or anything. And if it's first or second frame, you've not hit a ball, you want to get a feel for the table. But in general, 2 probably max, unless there's a free ball on. But yeah. So if it's Stephen Hendry had his way and Sean Murphy, there'd be no snookers.
No snookers.
So where did your love for snooker come from?
I never really wanted to play snooker. My whole family played. My mum taught my dad how to play when they met. My mum could make 50s, 60s. So
seriously?
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
My dad was the worst player in the family, bless him. But my 2 brothers played, and I idolised them, and I grew up just watching them. Picked up a cue, made 21st frame I ever played. And from then, in my bunny slippers, running around the table.
Brilliant.
And then got to my first tournament was the World Championships. I was 16. The World Championships. Got to qualify. We got to play here.
What was that like? Must have been some thrill.
I don't remember a thing, to be honest. All I remember was like, don't walk down them steps and fall over.
Yeah.
That's all I was thinking. But yeah, it was just a surreal moment. My granddad got to come and see me. It was the first time he saw me play, and memories are made at the Crucible,
amazing.
isn't it? So, and then from then I thought, I'm okay at this game. I'll carry on, and here I am now.
Well, that was an understatement, that's for sure.
Do you know what? I listened to an episode of Desert Island Discs with you the other day, knowing that we were going to come here today, and there was a great story about you at school. When the only focus was to get from the last lesson to the bus, and he had to be over the road, across the island.
9 minutes.
Yeah.
9 minutes to get it every day.
Right?
Yeah.
Tell that story for people who haven't heard it, because this encapsulates why he's a winner.
It was at 3:24. I used to think, if I can get that bus at 3:24, I'll get home. I'll be home, be at the club like earlier, because I think it was like the next one was like half an hour after. So I used to pelt it out of school. Didn't used to go under the subway, used to go across the motorway because it was like a busy roundabout, like about 6 or 7 turnings for like M11 or this or that. So I used to run straight across the motorway, jump over, boom, and as the bus was pulling off, I'd just get on there, I'd probably make it like 4 out of 5 times during the week. Sometimes a lesson over, going, oh, come on, I've got to get out of here, I've got to get out of here. Me bus.
Competitive is like, right, it took me 8 minutes 56 that day. Can I beat it?
Oh, mate, yeah, that bus was so important to me.
It's amazing, eh?
And by the way, he also said that he got this little thing in place where, for your school pals, you go and play in the snooker hall at lunchtime.
You used to get the fish and chip money.
Yeah.
This
is a great
We'd
story.
all had about £1 on us. How much you got? You go, I've got £1, I've got £1 for lunch. I might have had £1.50. I go, oh, we've got £4 there. Like, should we go try it? Like, so I just go down the snooker class. I said, look, I can maybe play something, and turn out like 15, 20 quid. We'd get like Savaloy and chips. And they go, all right, cool. So I go down there, find the old boy, because I used to play there anyway. I said, do you want a game? So I pick a racker up, and they go, yeah, all right. I said, I'll give you like 21 starts, 6 reds. So we only had like 20 minutes to get the game over, wouldn't it? You get the food and get back to school. And I'll get the money. I go, right, come, let's go and get Savaloy and chips. So the lads were well happy with me.
I'll bet you, mate.
Wasn't no school canteen for us.
Oh, that's one of the best stories.
Oh, it's fantastic.
That's one of the best.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you still see the lads today? Do you still speak to the lads today?
Yeah, my best mate George was like a brother to me. Well, like we chat like whenever. Like it's like we've never not spoken. And I got another mate of mine, Robert Young. I hadn't seen him for years. And I was doing an exhibition down in Cornwall, which is like 250 miles from where we went to school. And he was like, Ron, it's Rob. I went, Rob. So we were like 3 brothers, really. So they're the only 2. I haven't spoke to Rob for ages, but yeah.
See, but that's I always think, Ron, that's the beauty of best mates. You don't need to live inside each other's pockets. You don't need to see each other every day.
Right,
But as soon as you see them again, bang, you're off and running.
You're off and running, yeah.
It looks like he's going to wrap it up here. Judd Trump, well, he has wrapped it up here, so he's going to be through Sean Murphy in the next round.
That's a game, isn't it? That's a game.
That's a game, isn't it? Sean will fancy it, but they match up well. Judd kind of normally gets the better of Sean, but Sean, if he gets to the winning line, he won't shy away. No, he will actually get stronger. The closer he can keep Judd, the more he'll fancy the job. But
you get that impression with Sean,
he stomps around the table. It's like, I own this. But he's proper. But he's a great pressure player. You know what I mean? The bigger the occasion, the more he's like, whoa. Enjoying that. I don't know if you've seen him play. Did you see? Maybe not. Did you see Xing Tong play his first match? He was out for 2 years.
Yes.
Unbelievable talent. Unbelievable. To me, he's the nearest thing to Stephen Hendry.
Ron, do you think he's changed his game? Because I remember him rushing a little bit, and I was thinking, because the bookies had him quite high in one of the favourites to win, and he hadn't even qualified yet. And I was thinking, I can't see it because his safety game and he's a bit laxy-daisy.
He's still got
I've watched him, and he's not like superb at safety, but he gets that white on that cushion. It doesn't matter where it is, he at least gets it on the cushion, so it makes it difficult. And he's like slowed down. He looks like he's playing in slow-mo, but he's like 14 seconds a shot.
Unbelievable. His positional play, his touch, he's got power, he's got everything, this kid. So for me, he's the nearest thing I've seen since Stephen Hendry. Because like a lot of players who go for a long one and they want to get the white safe, he just rolls them in for the black. And I think, like what, you just, there's a lot of pressure. You miss these guys clear up. Years ago, they might have made 40, 50.
Yeah.
But he's for it, and he just rolls them in, bang, 100, bang, and you think, so I think in 3 years he'll be #1 world champion.
Wow.
He's like our Luke Littler.
Yeah.
He's our potential
Right,
Luke
I'm with
Littler.
you.
Yeah. And he's really a cool-looking guy. He's got something about him. You know?
So he's on course for another century here, by the way.
Yeah.
This is going to wrap the match up 10-4. He's already won the match. It's whether he can get another century.
Does he
This will
need
be
two now? Does he need
three on the night, so I think...
Does he need 2 now to make the bonus?
2 to get there. Yeah, he'll get that, yeah.
98
he'll be on.
Yeah,
I think he'll be on 98.
Yeah. This will put him on to 98. I'm reliably informed, but I missed one of your World Championships off, so don't listen to what I say.
Don't trust him, no, don't trust him.
We've actually got quite a lot wrong between us tonight. This might be another one, Ronnie.
We've got quite a lot wrong, and I've done most of it.
The main thing is we're enjoying ourselves.
We are. So there you go. There's another one. So he's 2 away from this £100,000 bonus.
Yeah.
He's through to the next round. He's got Sean Murphy.
Yeah.
We think he's going to come in and join us in here.
Which should be great.
As well, after.
Yeah.
So he's won. We should say thank you to Reanne for dropping in. Big thanks to you, Ronnie, as well. We wish you well, mate, for the rest of the tournament.
Cheers, nice one.
I really enjoyed watching you this afternoon. It was fantastic.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
So good luck with everything.
Cheers, thank you.
Great to see you. So great to see Ronnie. Great to see Reanne. And I'm hoping that when we come back, we'll have Judd Trump with us to talk about his match, which will be nice. 10-4.
That would be great.
Giles,
it'd be great if he came in. I mean, that was a solid enough performance, wasn't it?
Absolutely fantastic.
I just wish he was going in at 100 grand. That did.
Right, that's it for now. Back in a minute with Judd Trump on the watch along. Looking forward to it. Come back and join us in a minute, won't you?
So welcome back to the Watchalong. We're live at the Crucible Theatre. Jimmy White's back with us. What a pleasure it was having Ronnie O'Sullivan and Reanne Evans with us. 19 World Championships between them. Judd Trump's going to make his way into the studio shortly, having just won his match 10-4. He's going to meet Sean Murphy in the next round. Jimmy, how impressive was he in that match, Judd Trump?
Fantastic. Yesterday he started off brilliant. You know, Trump's strength is like he pots a long ball, gets in, wins the frame, puts the opponent under pressure. He'd done that a little bit in the first session last night, but didn't win that many frames in one visit. 6-3 in front. Tonight, he's reset, come out. Did he have 4 centuries?
He did. He certainly had 3 anyway.
I think he had 4.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but I mean, just shows you how well he's hitting the ball and how well he's scoring. So, you know, fantastic performance by Trump. You know, it definitely gives him. He's definitely in the running to have a chance of being world champion for sure, because he's world number 1. He's won 3 tournaments already this season. Not done too good in the last 2 tournaments, but sometimes that works in your favour because it gives you a break.
Tell me, Jimmy, looking at you, and you mentioned there's something like Judd Trump when he gets on one, when he's in full swing. Is he one of the guys that actually gets in the opponent's head?
Of course, because you're terrified of that. You know, how do you put this guy safe? Because you know he's going to attack. Like some players who play Judd Trump, like the likes of Mark Selby, and that they sort of, if he's struggling a bit, they trap him because they know he's going to attempt to pot a ball and get back in. But if they're going in, sometimes he's unplayable.
We're watching Mark Selby at the moment. 3-1 down at the minute, excuse me, against Ben Woollaston, which if you missed it earlier, Ben Woollaston's son actually wants Mark Selby to win because he's on for 90 quid at school. I think it works out if his dad... So this is this crazy scenario. So, yeah, but that's the way it is. 3-1 at the minute to Ben Woollaston. Jimmy, let's kind of take you back then, and let's have a conversation about your wonderful career. What's your abiding good memory of this place?
Well, I've had obviously like 6 of the finals. The first one with Davis, I was 12-4 behind, and I ended up 13-11 the next session to put myself in it because I was a bit sort of like new in the final. A couple of them, Hendry beat me convincingly. One I was like 14-8 in front, sort of the wheel fell off. Hendry got stronger. That was my worst defeat. And then another one, 17 each, and I sort of rushed to black and twitched on a, like you would have putt, like you get an eagle or something. It was an easy shot. But I've had some fantastic memories here. I've had some incredible matches, like played Higgins in 82. He's my hero. He goes on to win the world. I'm actually I don't mind him potting balls against me, because I was in awe of him. But this place, it's fantastic. It can be the loneliest place in the world if you're struggling. But if you're playing well, look at O'Sullivan today. So apprehensive coming into this World Championship, not played since January. Managed to get out 5-4 yesterday, not playing at all. Yeah. And then today he went through the gears. You was in there to watch it, So now all of a sudden, he's a contender. And we've got a new kid on the block, this Yulong, who's absolutely...
You really rate him, don't you?
Listen, he is unbelievable. He's like Luke Littler with a dart.
Yeah.
He can go through it like a knife through butter. He's like... I think he's like 4th in the betting already, and he's an amateur. That's how good he is. That's how in the know. So, if no disrespect to Mark Selby's fans, but Ben Woollaston is 3-1 up and now in the balls. If he can get out this session 6-3 in front, you'd fancy he'd beat Mark Selby, and then all of a sudden O'Sullivan, the drawers all opened up. OK, Mark Allen and Chris Waitley, the winner of them, have got to play Yulong if he beats his opponent, which he's big favourite to do. So, it's all opening up nicely. The magical thing in this World Championship looks like it could happen if O'Sullivan was to play Yulong in the semi-final. Obviously, Mark Allen's got something to say about that, and so has Selby. But, I mean, that would be like when I played Higgins in 82, like 2 players who just, naturally play the game, just want to get in and score.
What are those matches like? So when you're playing against someone that can score like you, and they're going to play a similar brand of snooker to you, do you get really kind of excited about the prospect of it because you know what kind of game it's going to be? When you went into that one in 82, were you thinking, this is my hero and this is going to be a shootout?
Well, yeah, exactly that. You're going to get chances, and you know that you've got to perform and show everybody what you can do, and some players who can sort of close it down, like Steve Davis, great Cliff Thorburn who was in here earlier, they can make it very difficult for you, you know. But if you're playing an attacking player and you're an attacking player, you just go for everything, you know what I mean? And when they get in, they've got to, you know, you've got to score and win the frame. That's what they all play it for. This Ying Tong does it for fun. I think he's had 12 centuries already, you know, in the qualifiers and coming here. He's just a phenomenal player.
Jimmy, tell me, it's a breath of fresh air. We're lucky to be sitting here, and we obviously with a chat a couple of weeks ago. Brilliant, an eye-opener for us all. You don't seem to me the type of guy that has any regrets. You really don't. You might have one or two disappointments, but you don't seem the type of guys to me have many regrets. This sport has been so good for you, hasn't it?
It's been, like, obviously, you know, there's disappointments of them finals, but, you know, I've had, like, an amazing life. I've met an amazing amount of people. I'm a kid from Tooting. My dad was a carpenter, and I had the Stones play at my 50th birthday party. You know, who might have screamed?
Where did it all go wrong?
You know what I mean? You know, like, so, you know, listen, I still love the game. I still play to a good standard occasionally. Obviously, not as consistent as you are, but I can still play, so I'm loving it.
I think we've got Judd. That's something to shout.
We're about to be
Judd might be here, which would be fantastic.
Judd Trump, which is going to be brilliant.
That would be excellent.
Just making his way towards where we are in the Crucible. It looks as though Ben Woollaston's in again here as well, so this is looking like it.
I think Jimmy might be right if he could have got away with us.
Well, if he can get in front, he'd be well pleased.
Good to see
Congratulations, mate.
Well done, mate.
How did that feel? That's a good win, 10-4. Those centuries are piling up, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel that comfortable when I went out there. I felt a little bit nervy, but the balls were going in. So I think it looked good on the TV. It probably looked like I was comfortable and flying, but it was a little bit nervy. I think the last few frames I felt a lot better, and they were kind of going in the middle of the pocket.
Oh, listen, top draw. Last night, we watched you, like, I haven't seen you play for a little while, and then all your long pots were going in last night, and then you was 5-1 up, you looked completely in control, and then you played a yellow and you got a bit of a bounce. You remember you didn't finish on a red?
Yeah.
And then it sort of got a bit scrappy, but I knew you'd reset today and come out. You was awesome tonight, make no mistake.
Yeah, I mean, I felt a little bit tired. A couple of the frames last night went a bit slow. I just kind of wanted to get out there and come back today fresh, really. I think I don't like it when the frames are going like that. 20, 30 minutes is too much for me. So, I mean, it was a good start to the tournament for me.
I was looking at it, I was going to say, Judd, looking at it, I think he had 4 centuries, right? And we'll have a chat about that in a minute. But if ever there's any doubt you're a winner, you don't like losing a frame, do you? And you know what I'm talking about. You've got a couple of stickers there and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was debating whether to just give up and get out of there, go to the interval. But then for something in the back of my head thinking, just carry on for one shot. I got him in a snooker, then another one. I was thinking, here we go then. You can get out early and avoid the interval. But he ended up getting out of a really tough snooker in the end. But it was a bit of a dramatic ending to that frame in the end.
Yeah, I'd already said that we'll see you after the mid-session interval because we presumed...
Oh, really? Sorry.
And then I had to backtrack. And, it wasn't a good 15 minutes for me, I've got to be honest. At that point, I was trying to read a snooker match, which is way beyond where I am in the world. Ali was giving me a nudge every now and again. Sean Murphy next, which is going to excite a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, to play Sean in the second round of the World Championship, it could easily be the final. So I think it just shows the standard nowadays. Sean is probably down the rankings a little bit, and he could easily be top 3 or 4 in the world. So to win the World Championship nowadays, you have to beat a lot of great players, and it doesn't get really any tougher than Sean in the second round.
See, when you look at it, is it like, for example, a football tournament, you get a draw, and you look, you fancy a bit of that, you fancy a bit of that. Are you guys the same? Are there players that you'd rather were on the opposite side of the draw?
I used to be looking at the draw, seeing who I can play and who gets through. Nowadays, it's just that first game. I think there was a lot made before the tournament of me and Sean potentially meeting, so I knew I was going to have him. But after that, I kind of, in the past, I've been guilty of looking at the draw and then playing badly and having an easier opponent the next round. I'm already out, so it doesn't really matter. But I think for snooker, there's some amazing matchups in the last 16 now.
Sometimes you've said that you struggle with the conditions here. How were they today and yesterday?
It's not ideal. It's quite damp and cold in there for me. So it's not great for snooker, even though it looked amazing. I think from the TV.
Yeah,
they're not my favourite conditions to play in. I think for me the Masters always plays the best. I think the time of the year kind of affects it.
Okay.
Being cold and then heating on inside is probably perfect for snooker.
Right.
Do you have to battle with that then? If you know that the conditions aren't maybe ideal for how you want them to be, and this tournament means so much to everybody, is that another battle that you have to fight to overcome it as well as your opponent, based on the fact that you've said quite openly, and Jimmy's just said there, that the conditions aren't something that you particularly enjoy?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because it's the same every single year. It's never going to get any easier for me. This tournament, how the table plays maybe doesn't suit my style. It doesn't play that reactive and that responsive. But I think if you go out there with enough confidence and kind of put it to the back of your head, then you can just about get by.
You made a mockery of that tonight, 4 centuries on the same night. So I think the conditions were suited him fine tonight, Ali.
I've got a look terrific performance. But here's the elephant in the room, right? You're 2 away from 100 grand. There's no messing about. You're 2 away from 100 grand. Is there anything in your head in your next game against Sean Murphy that thinks there's a century on here? Or is it all about winning the frame?
Good question. I think I know that I'm close. I think I'd be lying if I said it. It wasn't. It wasn't in my head. I think it would be nice to get it out of the way early in the game. I don't want to be losing desperately, trying to make centuries and everything's going wrong and everyone's laughing at me on one short or something. So
but if it went like 11 each and you're on 60 odd and you know that you can play a shot to make the century, you're going to win the frame, right? No?
I'll tell you after my next game. I don't know how
you
I'm
want to get it early out of the way, right?
I mean, if they had the cash on the side of the table, maybe I'll be a little bit more desperate.
I'll be honest.
We've come here the wrong day. It should be a game again.
Yeah, we have. We should be inviting Judd in after 2 more centuries and then saying, what are we doing later? How are you finding living in Dubai, playing on the tour? Is that all working out nicely for you?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. It's obviously a massive change in kind of snooker terms. I don't really feel there's many people that have made that kind of step to live in anywhere else but the UK, really. So for me, it's the perfect lifestyle. Practice in the morning, play golf every single day, 7 days a week. So I think just having that happiness off the table, I think, is showing this season, and it kind of showed again tonight.
If anybody wondered why he's walked in smiling, the last 5 minutes will tell you exactly why.
Oh, I don't. Absolutely. But practice in the morning, a game of golf in the afternoon.
Sounds good to me.
That's not the worst, I can tell you.
Yeah, and it's certainly working for you. How important is this tournament for you to finish off what's been a good season for you? World number 1, UK Championship, 3 tournaments. We think it's going to be 100 centuries, so the £100,000 bonus as well. The icing on the cake would be this. How focused are you on winning this tournament?
I think because this is the last tournament of the season as well, I think you kind of, anyone that's not involved with snooker that's just kind of tuning into the World Championship, they only really remember this tournament and the rest kind of gets forgotten about a little bit. So it's obviously very important. I've had a great season so far, but you kind of get forgotten about if you don't win this tournament. So it kind of adds that pressure on, and yeah, I've got a good chance this year if I can keep doing what I'm doing.
Well, look, you look magnificent tonight.
Yeah. Thank you.
Two centuries away as well. We're all rooting for you.
Cheers.
Great to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate it.
All the best, mate. All the best.
That's Judd Trump, who was really, really impressive tonight.
Listen, he was.
I wish I didn't like the conditions, Jimmy. If he could knock the ball in like that.
Listen, he was like, he sent a message out there. I'm here to win the competition. He's going to have a real tough game with Sean Murphy. It's going to be really exciting. I expect it to be close because Murphy's playing as good as ever.
Of course, they've sent the expert in. Exactly. Rachel's arrived. Rachel Casey.
I think you're the expert.
Oh, I don't think we are.
No.
I don't think we are.
Truth be told, Rachel, Jimmy, sat us down for about 20 minutes before we went on air and gave us the full debrief. She said, this is how it's going to go. And you've done well. It's worked out all right.
I think we needed Rachel about an hour and a half ago, actually. Not now.
How many hours does that feel?
About 5 minutes. It feels like about 5 minutes. It's just gone past so fast. We're keeping an eye on Mark Selby here, Ben Woollaston, 3-1 at the moment to Ben Woollaston. We're going to stay with it until this frame.
Until 2 a.m?
Yeah, I think so. It might be. It could be a cocoa job.
No, knows the answer to that one.
It takes me back to Terry Griffiths with the cocoa that night, Jimmy, if you think back.
Listen, Terry Griffiths, he was such a great player, but even Cliff Thorburn, the time they took sometimes, you're thinking, just play this shot, will you? But, Woollaston, He's 3-1 in front, 40 in front, just put another long red there. He's got to roll up behind the green and play safe. But he's matching Selby in all departments. Selby started off with a century break. A lot of people fancy Mark Selby to win this competition, Rach. But if Woollaston can get out 6-3, he's got every chance of beating him.
And, of course, his wife is a referee. Ben's
yeah, but
wife.
not when he's playing.
No.
That would be a bit suspect.
Rachel, I've got to say, everybody seems really relaxed at the Crucible. All the players that we've had the pleasure to bump into today or spend any time with seem really relaxed. Are they always like this?
Yeah, I mean, they're just fantastic guys to be around. There's no egos. And they're just normal people.
I know, we were saying that. I mean, with a great suspect, Jimmy, we were talking to yourself, Ronnie's got time for us, Judd's come in. There's no airs or graces about anybody. You know, and we've loved it. We've had some serious access today. Yeah. It's just been a breath of fresh air.
That's
really
it,
enjoyable.
though, isn't it? I work in horse racing, and you kind of have that same access.
Exactly.
You know, the jockeys, you can go up and have a chat with them, do the interviews, the trainers, they'll all chat you. JP McManus, who's like a zillionaire. Like, you know, it's just so similar, both of them, in terms of the access you have to the players.
It's like we all travel together, you know, all us guys, we do this like you do for TNT and all that. See, you know, like if you get the odd player occasionally, like especially for Rachel, she has to put the microphone in front of them and they've just got beat. But over the years, they've got respect for Rachel. So we're always looking at it like, is someone going to be a bit rude? But they're not. Everybody knows that, you know, you've got to be professional. You've got to promote the game. So I don't think there's no real... I was going to swear then, but there's no real...
You've done so well to this point.
Jimmy, I was just about to say you've been brilliant so far.
No, I think it's an individual sport, and I think everyone's sort of, you know, got respect for each other because they just know how difficult this game is. It's not like you can't really scream and shout. You've got to stay in control.
And that's the hard thing, though, isn't it? Losing. And straight afterwards, even Shane
I suppose you're right. I suppose it's the easiest thing in the world to get interviewed when you're winning and things are going great, everything in the garden's rosy. But it's difficult to put a microphone on somebody when you've just missed a black, cost you a game.
Well, I've got to say, we were backstage, weren't we, when Ali Carter came through,
he was brilliant
to Ronnie this afternoon, and you were the first person to speak to him after. And if you speak to a manager or a player after a football match, you never know what you're going to get.
No.
And I mean, any question you ask could be completely battered away, and you've really got to think about it. And I admire the people that do it. And I watched you speak to him, and he was so eloquent in terms of describing what had happened. His eyes lit up when he noticed Ali. He's just like everybody else. And then he relaxed even more. As soon as he spotted you, Rachel said to him, "Who are you winking at?" He said, "Ali McCoist."
I've got to say, Rich, I was so impressed, you know, because obviously, as I said earlier, it's difficult. It's difficult. You're disappointed. You probably accept you've been well beaten.
That was a hard loss for Ali today as well, because you know we talk about the grudge match, and we were saying last night they're not going to be heading out for Curry, the pair of them, anytime soon. Like, you know, but it was still played in good sport. But that would have hurt Ali because he didn't play well. He didn't play well. Obviously, Ronnie's played a lot better, but. Yeah, he was good today. I was thinking, oh gosh, what would he be like? Because that was the one that would have hurt.
Ronnie said some nice things about Ali when he was in. He said when they were kids, they used to play together. He said, I've picked balls out for him in snooker clubs and what have you. So,
but they're still not going for Curry anytime soon.
No, I can't.
Come on now.
Can you see Ben and Eubanks? Can you see Ben and Eubanks having a cuddle after? I can't have that one. If that happens, then I've had enough.
Probably not.
No. Well, listen, we can't let you go. We're getting to the stage. We need this kind of semi-prediction off you. Who do you see getting to the final? Who can lift it?
Well, you know, if it goes to... obviously, there's so many players who are going to have a say. Mark Allen and Chris Wakeling, there's a tough match. And then it looks like they'll be playing Yulong Tong. If O'Sullivan performs, he should beat Pang. No disrespect to Pang fans. So, you know, O'Sullivan, Yulong Tong semi-final would be absolutely amazing. And then in the other half, you've got Higgins playing well. You've got Trump, Murphy. You know, there's so many big predictions. You can't really, like, there's probably 8 that can win it.
All of them.
But I fancy Yulong Tong to win.
Brilliant.
There you are.
Yeah. I was going to say, go through the 8 then and come out with...
No, he's just giving us it.
That'd be historic as well.
Yeah, but, you know, he's like, OK, people say, oh, he's still an amateur. He did win the UK Championship. He's not had a lot of experience at the Crucible. But the way he's playing at the moment, like the safety game against him wouldn't make any difference either, because once he gets in, he's like winning one frame in one visit. You keep doing that to opponents. Say you're only like 5-3 in front. It just puts so much pressure on the other guy's safety shot, even if they're playing really well. So he is capable of winning.
How big a boost would that be for the game?
Like Luke Littler with darts, you know, it'd be phenomenal. Every now and again you get like someone like Ballesteros, Tiger Woods, you know, Ronnie O'Sullivan, and now you've got this Ying Tong coming through in snooker. You know, he's a breath of fresh air. Fantastic lad, glides around the table and just plays the game at such ease. It's amazing.
And he's been compared to Jimmy White.
Well, I didn't want to say that, mate.
It's a big comparison.
Who do you like, Rachel?
Well, I did a piece for the programme and I went with Kyron Wilson, gone home.
Right. This is the opportunity to do it again, though. Rip it up and start
Player
again.
under the radar, Jack Johns, he's gone.
Right.
I actually think the winner will come out of Murphy and Trump.
Okay.
That match.
Okay.
I think they've probably been the best players. I think Zhou Yuelong, I'd love him to win it. I think it'll be a great story, but I think probably the winner will come out of those two.
I want to ask you too, Jimmy. This might be a stupid question. If he wins the tournament as an amateur, can he keep the prize money or not?
It keeps the prize money, but I don't think he keeps the ranking points.
Right.
Which will work in his favour because every 2 years the ranking points come off. So he won't lose his position. So he's on a double bonus.
Okay.
Never mind. Yeah, I was going to say, never mind losing the ranking points. I've got that down as a result. Jimmy,
I thought you might.
If he's keeping the money, I've got that done as a result.
Absolutely, yeah.
And on Ronnie O'Sullivan, so I saw some quotes from him. I think he might have said it when we sat together and did the programme to preview the tournament. That when he'd not played prior to the World Championship before, the first game he had a relatively comfortable win and felt okay.
Yeah.
Then in the next round he had a relatively comfortable win and felt a bit better. And then by the time he got past that, he thought, right, okay, I'm now somewhere near where I want to be and I can kick on from here. Do you think that will happen again for him? Because there was improvement from yesterday to today. Do you think that that's likely?
Absolutely, massive improvement. He's very apprehensive before he come in the tournament when we done our thing in the studio before. And we around us in the studio before his match, but he's always been very apprehensive before the World Championships, right? He suffers with like your nerves, but he knew that he had to. When he played Carter yesterday, the first 4 frames he was all at sea, but then he just got better and better. And today was like the Ronnie O'Sullivan of old. So the cue's fine, his composure was good, and he scored heavy. So he's 100% back in contention.
And for the game in general, Rachel, if we get that story over this tournament, the Crucible, that kind of transcends everything again, doesn't it? He puts it out into the wider market. Everybody then wants to look at what Ronnie O'Sullivan's going to do.
And it's coping with that as well for Ronnie, because obviously mentally it's been tough to come back. I'd say you should go on holidays for a few weeks. Obviously, you'll have a lot of media attention and stuff. But yeah, it's amazing. People that never even watch snooker, they'll ask me, is Ronnie O'Sullivan playing in the World Championship? People that just have absolutely no interest in the game, they all want to know what Ronnie's doing. And that's what he does for snooker. And there's nobody else. Obviously, you talk about golf and other sports, like individual sports, you have that. But for snooker, there'll never be anyone like
Here's
Ronnie.
a quick question for the two of you as well. How knowledgeable are the crowd?
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, most of them, they know when it's the shot that's won the frame. They applaud at the right time. So, you very rarely get anyone come to the Crucible that's not a snooker fan.
Yeah, I get it.
They might get a mate say, OK, I've been to the Crucible before, I'll treat you and take you there. And then they'll be... But, it's very difficult to get tickets there.
London crowd's a bit different. Ali Pali, you'll have a few just,
lively.
Great.
Yeah.
Amazing atmosphere. But with the Crucible, obviously, how many seats are in the Crucible, Jimmy?
We had that competition the other
did
day.
Did
we win? We won, didn't we?
We won, but can we remember how many seats were in there?
950 or something. Where the Ali Pali, I think, is 2,500.
So that's
it's
the
a big difference.
It's very special to get a ticket at the Crucible.
Let me ask you this then. So Rachel's just mentioned that Ronnie is the player now that people who aren't necessarily snooker fans would ask, is he in the World Championship? What was it like back in the halcyon days, the 80s, when snooker players were arguably the most famous sportsmen in the country?
Well, you only
what was it like then?
Well, it was mad because you only had 4 channels, so sort of everybody knew you, and the way Alex Higgins played and I played and O'Sullivan plays and Trump, you get the crowd behind you because you're playing an attacking game. So they sort of go on the roller coaster with you. So the more you're winning, the more they're cheering for you. That can also work the other way if you're not performing. Like O'Sullivan, like a bit of stage fright, went all the way to Wales, drove all the way there and then didn't play, went home.
Incredible.
But at least he's honest,
Absolutely.
and said it because he suffers from it. But no, there's nothing like that, So he does add a bit of extra pressure on him, with the crowd behind him. But that makes it even more sweeter when he wins.
Jimmy, I think your time with us is up. So is yours, Rachel. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Rachel. Thanks, Jimmy. Brilliant.
Cheers, guys.
It's been great seeing you again, Jim. Rachel, good luck with the rest of the tournament.
Thank you very much.
Both of you.
Thanks, guys.
We were told that we're going to be coming off air when this frame finishes. It might well be the longest frame of the tournament so far.
It's certainly looking that way.
So we're staying. So Alan McManus has dropped back in and Radzy's joined us as well. So, yeah, well, Mark Selby's in now. I mean, what we can do, we've just asked Jimmy and Rachel who they think is going to win it. Radzy, what about you?
The tournament is so wide open. I mean, actually, the man who's currently at the table, Mark Selby, he's 3-1 down at the moment. In the fifth frame, I wouldn't write him off.
Mm-hmm.
He's such a winner in Triple Crowns. So if you push me right now, I'm going to go Xing Tong because I'd love to see a Chinese player win it.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to look past the greatest of all time, but my heart says Ronnie. My brain says Selby or Xing Tong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you've given us 3.
To be fair, we asked Jimmy. Jimmy gave us 7. Jimmy gave us 7.
You've done better. Jimmy did say Xing Tong, though. But as he pointed out, that could well be the semi, Ronnie against Xing Tong, which would be...
It's just because, I mean, when you're sat here speaking to Ronnie, some of the stuff he comes out with, you realise he sees the game differently. I mean, you guys obviously have sat and spent time with him and Jimmy.
Incredible.
It's just amazing. Yeah. And, I mean, Al knows as much about the game as anyone. And even sometimes afterwards, we step out of the studio and go, wow.
No, yeah, Ronnie's like that. I mean, I think deeply about it all the time. I always have done. But Ronnie naturally thinks I've got to kind of try and break things down. But Ronnie just still come out with some, I'll go. And it's complicated, but he makes it dead simple. And you go, God, I wish I could think like that. It's pure genius. It really is, aye.
Do you remember there was one time we were at the York Barbican and there was a snooker that had happened and we were going to possibly recreate it. And Jimmy and Al went, good luck trying to get out of that one with regards to Stuart Bingham.
Mm-hmm.
Ronnie said, no, that'd be fine. And off air picks up our prop cue that's maybe $15.99, no chalk on it, and almost does it first time. And you go, this guy, he's Pele, he's Maradona.
Well, we remember we did the thing with the boys and we set a table up. I genuinely could not believe it. And we had 4 or 5 shots from the World Championships over the last, 25 years. In fact, Jimmy played the shot that Higgins...
The blue.
Yeah.
Right. And he did it first time. I mean, no practice, just picked the cue up. I mean, just absolutely natural.
I was hoping people would believe us when we said on the programme that this is the first time he's done it, that we'd not had new... He just picked the cue up, put it down, bang. And it by the way, centre of the pocket, nowhere near the jaws.
I'll tell you honestly with Ronnie, I had about 2 or 3 years ago, he asked me to have a look in the practice table with him, just to see a few things. And I call it fishing for him, just fielding for him. And we were up in York, I think, at the UK Championship. So we're in the practice room. And now I'm used to seeing that standard of snooker. So he's doing what he's doing in the practice table, and I'm fielding away, and I'm going whatever, and I'm saying, try that, that was good, or that was all right, or whatever. And I'm having to mask my thoughts because I'm seeing he's making miracles happen. I'm not joking, right? I'm when he turns his back and he walks around, I'm going, I don't believe what is going on with this guy. But he's going, I'm not sure about that. But he's meaning it, and I'm going. But I'm old school. I'm like playing hardball with him. I'm like, I know, you got to be better than that. Come on, come on. Just trying to, it's funny, but he's on a different thought process and all that.
Who do you fancy this week?
Well, I went with Sean Murphy before it started. I mean, it's a bit of a lot, not a lottery, but there's that many, I think, as you were saying, with some of the guys that have been in. Xing Tong, I think, is a major contender. It's good to see Ronnie back playing. John's going to have a big shout. Yeah. He's going to take some shifting, like a few of them. Mark Selby's going to take some shifting in this.
It's funny. I mean, Tong to Jimmy. Jimmy wasn't writing off John's chances, by any stretch of the imagination.
No, John. The fact that he's won twice in the last 8 weeks is massive for John. It's huge.
This is the chance here to steal for Mark Selby, Alan, but it's difficult from here.
Yeah, I mean, the green shouldn't be a problem. He's got to get deep in the cue ball here to get it back where his hand is. See that? And then just get a wee angle on the brown to try and get over close to blue. Whether he can play to knock this out, I doubt it. It's a bit on the straight side. But Selby, I almost guarantee here, when he leaves the table, Ben will be in trouble. That's the way that he operates. He doesn't, like, for example, with this brown, he's just shaping there. Whatever shot he comes up with, Ben will be in trouble. It's one of them. That's the way that he calculates everything. And he's also a big scoreboard player. See, the other thing here is now he's 11 in front, so the pink ain't moving.
Yeah.
Even though the blue is where it is, I guarantee you pretty much that the pink's not going to go anywhere. He's actually lost his cue ball a fraction there. But that's the way that guys like Mark Selby play with golden rules. They play scoreboard shots, I call them. He's 11 in front, the pink's got to stay where it is. So he's got a wee bit to work out here, but he'll probably find something, aye.
When this frame finishes, Razzie, I've got to get it in because these counts to the break are so short. I think we've got 10 seconds when the frame finishes. So what I'm going to do... What I'm going to do at this point, on behalf of Ali and myself, is thank everybody who's been in with us tonight. We really appreciate all the guests that have come in and helped us out and made us sound manageable. I think the word is.
We've absolutely loved it.
We've had a great day. We thank you all for watching and being part of it with us.
Do you know what? Thank you guys for coming, though. Yeah, because actually, anyone that loves snooker is welcome to the snooker community. And it's people stop you. And really, when they stop you to talk about snooker, they think, oh, you love snooker as well. So thank you for kind of championing it, shining a light on it. We love it.
I know.
The only thing is,
I think you've gone early here.
Yeah, where the balls are now. We might need 2 more guests. We might be standing Razzie and Alan down and bringing a couple more back in. What's he thinking here then? Because you just said he plays scoreboard shots. He's got golden rules.
The pink
he doesn't want to move the pink.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you know what? He might even play here cushion first. I don't know what he might play cushion first and actually...
Get mind the pink?
Possibly. He'll come up with something. But, let's see.
You like that, don't you? You like
Aye.
It's taking you till 20...
Please play it.
It's taking you till 20%. He tried.
He's actually played... I mean, Ben's now going to lift the pink. That's the only thing, but... Yeah.
Just another quick word on Mark Selby is he's in a really good place mentally. Me and Alan were really privileged because Mark Selby, Ronnie O'Sullivan were sat next to each other, and historically they don't share many words. They were so vulnerable about their mental health journey at the Masters. It was incredible to hear them basically say, this game's hard, we've struggled. And almost me and Alan just kept our mouths shut and just listened to 2 men, 2 denizens of the game, just basically go back and forth and exchange notes. And it was just amazing. I mean, you can watch it on YouTube. It was just wonderful to listen to. And so I think Mark Selby, a few years ago, wasn't the same guy upstairs that he is now.
You see, that's a first for me, Ali. I've never, ever been sat in any kind of television environment where anybody's used the word denizens. That's fantastic. Fantastic from Radzi. Denizens of the game. I want to try and use that myself.
I can't see you getting that.
I love that. Denizens of the game.
I can't see you getting in the PSG Arsenal game.
What are you trying
I'm not
to
sure
say?
you're going to
What are you trying to say?
I tell you what, I've kind of maybe forgetting the importance of this frame.
Yes.
Massive. Yeah, I mean, if Ben can get to 4, then it's a big anchor in terms of the session. Guaranteed to be, they're going to get the 9 frames in tonight. Yeah. But you get to 4, you're in a wee comfort zone. Oh, Mark's put himself in deep trouble here. Deep trouble he's in. Yeah. That's what we might get here, actually. Yeah.
Go on, carry on.
No, what we might get here, he's going to be tight in behind the pink.
Yeah.
Now, Ben's got to keep the blue in open play, not near a cushion. He's actually looking to leave the blue on the bulk line here, if you'll see. Let's see what pace he plays it. Yeah, he's looking to get it on the bulk line so that he's not looking for a miss, but he could lose a few points here.
Yeah, I've got to ask a question, Ben Woollaston here.
How is it when you receive a DM from the future King of England? That is unbelievable, by the way.
I tell you what, he's received more than that this year. He's had a great year in that regard, haven't you?
I've got to say, and Fletcher was 2 yards away at the interview. He was brilliant. Clearly, the one thing that came out of the whole thing was, I don't know if you saw him celebrate the Villa goal with his boy.
Correct, yeah.
Do you know what it was? It was just like Dad at the football with his son celebrating the goal. And he clearly, his knowledge of the tactics, he's a mad Villa fan. That's there for everybody to see. He's got out that. It was a great experience. Raz, it was honestly, it was just magical.
But how cool, because you facilitated that. People at home don't necessarily know. He was only there because of you.
He was great.
That is young Ali that's born in Bell's
Hill.
Thank you.
Well done, that man.
Yes. Would he have believed that the future King of England...
No, I can't lie to you. I just wish my wee mummy was there to see it. I lost my wee mummy a couple of years ago. She would have loved that. My wee mummy would have loved that. But she'd have been watching it somewhere. I don't have any doubt. No, it was great. It was a great wee moment, wasn't it? I tell you what, I won't...
Oh, look at this. Sorry. Oh, he's a wee bit unlucky there. Good contact in the pink, big shot.
Alan, we're talking about Ali mixing with royalty at the moment. You can't interrupt for a shot.
And I'm getting excited about it.
I'll dive in for a shot on the pink.
I'm typically getting excited
about the snooker, more about me. Right, back to me.
I know, sorry.
I tell you what, Radzi, you would have loved to have been a fly on the wall. We had lunch in Paris the day of the interview. There were nerves, my friend. There were nerves around the table.
Oh, yeah. Myself and Rio, I don't mind telling you. Oh, surely not.
No. Always stuck it.
Yeah, but understandably so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's live.
Yeah. And by the way, by all accounts, first live interview ever by a member of the royal family.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Honestly? Well, all right, okay.
Ali, you might have to finish the story because we've got 10 seconds if this pink goes in. I'm only saying, based on the experience of tonight.
He's just got to watch his cue ball here.
There we go.
No, he's good.
Yeah. So...
That's a big frame.
Yeah, it is. A massive frame. So he pulls one back, 3-2. Alan, thank you.
Pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Randy, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Great to see you, mate.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We've had a great time. Dave Hendon, Joe Johnson, the former world champion next. Join them.